You are now entering the world of Jack Gravely, a talk show you can participate in, believe in, and a host you can disagree with. So sit back and listen to the edgy, entertaining, and educational Grand Central Station of talk radio in beautiful downtown Richmond, Virginia. The Jack Gravely Show begins right now.
And a good morning to you. Thank you for joining me here on the Jack Gravely Show. I'm coming to you from beautiful downtown Richmond, Virginia. It's Open Topics Friday this morning, and that means you can call in and talk about whatever you wish to talk about that's happened over the last week, over the last day, over the last month. We'll try to run with you this morning. My telephone number is 788-0990. We do have two special pieces on the show this morning. First of all, we're going to have Ernest the Barber. Ernest the Barber, the dedicated Dallas Cowboy fan and knowledgeable guy. Let me say this. He's a barber. He's a professional hairstylist, professional man, owns his own business, been operating it for over 30 years in the city of Richmond, well known, very competent, very professional, very nice. And let me tell you, if you ever go to Ernest the Barber's barbershop, he has one of the most laid out barbershops you ever go to. I mean, it's like sitting in your living room. And that kind of thing. Is not a typical laid out barbershop. He knows a little bit about cutting hair. He knows a little bit about cars. He knows a little bit about a lot of different things. Hard-working young man, worked his way up in life, but he doesn't know any football. I mean, he thinks he knows the Dallas Cowboys. He thinks he knows Washington. Well, we'll talk about that a little later when we get Ernest the Barber here on the show this morning. He's a nice guy. Don't take him. Don't feel sorry for him now. He's a strong guy now. He's strong. He has his opinions. He's strong. He knows barbering. He knows cars. He knows music. Oh, he's a musician, by the way. He has his own band. He's a businessman. He knows a little business. He doesn't know no football. Doesn't know any football at all. And we'll talk about that, but I'm going to have him on to talk about football this morning. And then at 11:07 this morning on the Jack Gravely Show, we're going to have Dr. Jeffries in for his usual discussion on issues. And so those of you who want to tune in this morning. It is the 30th of January. We'd like to thank the calendar participants from yesterday and the whole week. We selected the top calendar for 2015 here at WLEE Jack Gravely Show. Now, that doesn't mean that the big show or the little show or the middle show selects the same calendar that we select. This is on the show. You got all these other shows, big show, little show, tweeny weeny show, east-west show. You got the show. Jack Gravely Show, and we picked the IDI calendar as the top calendar, and Bernard's Cleaners came in very highly, and Crater Hospice. Those were the really 2 or 3 top calendars that we had this year on the Jack Gravely Show. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to some other issues here on the Jack Gravely Show, and again, it's Open Topics Friday. I don't have any issues out there, but I brought my agenda sheet in here this morning, just in case no one calls me. Ryan is running the boards this morning, and we're very glad to have you. The phones are already ringing, and let me get to a first call. Curtis, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Jack, what shocked me today is that Suge Knight is in jail right now. He took his car out of his pickup truck and ran over a guy.
Wait a minute. Who's in jail?
Suge Knight.
Now, a lot of people may not know who Suge Mack is. Who is Suge Mack? I know who he is, but a lot of my listeners may not know.
Yeah, okay, he's a rapper. He ran over another rapper when he took his truck and ran over him twice. He came out of the club and ran over him, then backed up and ran over him again. That's who Suge Knight is. He has a daughter who's a rapper. We're trying to get his daughter into rapping, too.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Curtis. Appreciate it.
Okay.
First issue this morning was Suge Mack. The mogul that just showed, he's the guy that helped invent the Beat headphones. You know who I'm talking about, Orion? Are you familiar with Beat headphones?
The Beat headphones,
Yeah, that cost about $400 a pair.
Was that Jay-Z or was it?
No, Suge. It was Suge Mack.
Suge.
It was
Okay.
Suge.
Okay.
Yes, he's out there. Let's go to Deborah. Deborah, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Good morning, Jack.
Good morning, Deborah.
It wasn't actually Suge. It was Dr. Dre who did the beats, which Dr. Dre was affiliated with Suge
I'm sorry.
Knight, but they broke off.
I'm sorry. You are exactly right. I am wrong. It was Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre, not Suge.
But that's not why I'm calling. I was listening to. I won't name the other gentleman that comes on in the evening and tries to bash you or bait you, and you always take the high road. And I figured out why he does that, and I'm so grateful that you actually do take the high road. He's actually begging people or trying to get people to pay for an organization that will help him to stay on the air. Jack, keep doing what you do. Keep taking the high load. He actually has horrible ratings, probably on the verge of losing his show. So he figured if he tried to bait you with your good ratings and your dedicated or loyal listeners, they'll actually start listening to him. Don't take the bait, Jack.
Deborah, thank you a lot. Appreciate it. Let's go to Mike. Mike East End, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Hey, Jack. Happy Friday, man.
Thank you, man.
Hey, I got to teach you some hip-hop lessons, man. Y'all have been talking about Suge Mac and Suge Knight, man. Come on.
Suge Knight.
You got to get cool with it. You got to get down on the street corner, Jack. Other man had Dr. Dre money. Come on. Hey, no, but really, I think Karma finally caught up to him because, I think he had something to do with the Tupac situation. So just take you to a little hip-hop lesson.
Mike, that's a big charge, man. That's a big charge.
I think eventually, all things come to roost, man. And this is a big deal because he's already a 2-time felon, so he's gonna go to jail for a long time. He's not getting around this one. But I want to get your opinion about this game. We got Summer Sunday. My mind's telling me that the Patriots are gonna win, but my heart wants the Seahawks to win. I'm just so stuck on this game, Jack. It's gonna be a good one.
Mike, I know you, and you're a strong, intelligent, smart guy. But, Mike, I hear you running scared this morning. Mike. I never heard you run scared, man.
I don't have a dog in this fight, Jack, but at the end of the day, man, this game can go in so many different ways. I want the Seahawks to win. I'm going to come out and say I want the Seahawks to win. I don't want to jinx them. But the Patriots they got so much offense, and if Seahawks, they can't score on them, Jack. I just don't see them scoring. And this game it's a high-scoring game. Wait.
You don't see who's scoring on who?
I don't see the Seahawks putting up as many points as the Patriots can put up, man. The Patriots have Gronkowski, they have Blunt, they have Edelman, and Seattle barely scored a touchdown against Green Bay. They had to use a fake field goal to get their first touchdown. And I know all games are different, and they played the worst game they've ever played versus Green Bay. But I just don't see them being able to score, Jack. And if this game is a low-scoring game, I think Seattle wins. But if it's a high-scoring game, I don't think they have a chance, man. I really just don't.
Well,
I hope it's a good one, man.
All right. Well, hold on. We're going to call Ernest the Barber, and we're going to get Ernest the Barber on the phone here. And you stay tuned, Mike. But Mike, I'm really surprised at you, man.
What?
I'm really surprised. Really, what you're saying is that Seattle is in the championship game, so they had to score some points. And let me tell you, you win some, you win the ugly ones, you win the ones you're supposed to win. They won them. I can tell you, with that Seahawks defense, it's fast, it's ferocious, it adjusts very well. A lot of coaches adjust after the halftime. Seahawks adjust after a series. They got one of the best defensive backfields in, and they got a shutdown corner in Sherman. And Wilson is you cannot figure out what he's going to do, and I can tell you, the Patriots are not going to be able to shut down every seam and every lane, or when Wilson drops back and everybody is covered and the defensive line is scattered. That is where Wilson does his magic. I tell you right now, and I'm not going to back up off it, I'm going with Seattle, and I don't care if they win by 1 point or 100. I'm going with Seattle.
I hope so. And, now they had to play with real inflated football, so hopefully the Seahawks going to win. I'll talk to you on Monday.
All right, man. All right, Mike. All right. Take it eeasy, man. All right, let's go to Roberto. Roberto, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Jack, buenos dias and Happy New Year.
Buenos dias, man.
It's a new year. But, it's an electric weekend, Jack, and I'm a diehard football fan. And let me tell you something. Defense wins championships. Seattle cleaned the wound of all the infectious turnovers, 5, and found a way to win with 4 minutes left. Don't forget their defense kept them in the game against the best offense in football, Green Bay, and they got a better receiving core than the Patriots. I look for this game to be devastating to Brady with 8 blitz. That means nose tackles putting pressure on him day and night. And I look for the defense to score a touchdown. That's right, to score a touchdown against the Patriots. And I think 31-18 is what I'm sniffing and smelling. And I believe that if they try to force Russell Wilson by putting 8 in the box to stuff Marshawn Lynch, he will use his feet. He will hit that tight end Luke Wilson if he doesn't have wide receivers, and they will find themselves on the wrong end of victory, and it will also be cheaters proof, Jack. Put that in stone. 31-18, Seattle defense wins championships.
All right, thanks a lot, Roberta. Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen.
Good day, Jack.
All right, good day. Hot and heavy this morning, about 9:15, 17. Got to take our first break. Jack Gravely Show, Open Topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Jack will be back after a few messages on WLEE News Talk 990.
CEO Radio, I'm Ray Hoffman. When did Linda Lightman know that Linda's Stuff, the business she had built selling consignment women's fashion apparel on eBay, had really become something? It was about 3 or 4 years in, right about the time the business had gotten too big for her house. And she and her husband drove from Philadelphia to Boston to attend an eBay buyers and sellers conference.
We walk into this room, and it's an auditorium filled with hundreds of people. And they're like, oh, there's Linda. Get Linda. And I thought I was going to be like in a conference room talking to, 10 people. And people knew who I was, and they knew about our site.
It's the success of Linda's Stuff that inspired others to start their own eBay businesses.
I paved the way for all these businesses that now want to do what we do. Yeah, there's competition now, but I will stand by the fact that we do it better.
Well, for sure, no one does it bigger. Ray Hoffman for CBS Radio News.
Hey, it's Guy Fieri, and before the game, it's all about the tailgating. Burgers, sausage and peppers, onions, hot wings, you name it. But come game time, if you got yourself a whole bunch of heartburn, roll out the Rolaids.
Don't let heartburn keep you from enjoying the things you love. Rolaids gets you back in the action fast. Its dual-active formula neutralizes more acid than Tums. For indigestion and heartburn, get rapid relief with Rolaids.
Rolaids? Now that's how you spell relief.
Use as directed. Acid neutralization may not correlate with symptom relief.
Does your business thrive by serving other businesses? Would you like a healthy, steady flow of B2B leads that are customized to grow sales? Hoovers has developed a best-in-class lead generation tool that makes it easy for you to find targeted leads for your business. You'll be amazed at how easy it is to get the right leads fast. Try it today for free. Get 50 free leads and a 24-hour trial. Just call 800-601-7780. 800-601-7780. 800-601-7780.
I joined because I wanted to contribute to something bigger than myself. On my first patrol, my adrenaline was pumping.
I knew it would be tough, but I was ready for the challenge.
Always on high alert. After a while, it takes a toll. I was counting the days till I came home to my family. Finally, the day arrived.
It was good to be home, at first. But then I realized things were different. I was different.
I had trouble focusing and relating to things the way I used to. Then a buddy noticed something wasn't right. He said he'd been there, that there are resources out there for veterans. I decided to reach out. I found resources that helped and connected with other veterans who had similar experiences.
Once I started making connections, things began to turn around.
There may still be bumps in the road, but now I know where to turn.
Find resources and support at maketheconnection.net.
Make the connection.
Army Specialist Andrew Pike became paralyzed while serving in Iraq. Andrew and his father explained the impact of his injury.
At first, you think, I want my son to be able to walk.
My injury was a gunshot wound to the left abdomen from a sniper. My first contact with paralyzed veterans was in Walter Reed.
Paralyzed Veterans National Service officers work with our injured veterans to ensure they get the benefits they have earned. NSO Michael Killen explains.
We try to reassure them what benefits are out there, and we try to educate them and take some of that stress away from them.
Paralyzed Veterans of America helped Andy get the auto, housing, and vocational benefits he earned.
PVA did a fantastic job making sure that he got those benefits on a timely basis.
Right now, I'm going back to school to earn a degree, and I'm just spending time with my wife and child.
To learn how you can help our paralyzed veterans, visit pva.org. A public service message from Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Now, back to the Jack Gravely Show on WLEE News Talk 990.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're back with me on the Jack Gravely Show. I told you that I visited my barber of over 20 years yesterday. Ernest's been cutting my hair basically over 25 years, and I have him on the line. Again, I've already introduced many of you to Ernest the Barber. Ernest is a professional businessman. He also is a musician, and he has his barbershop on Adams Street there in the Jackson Ward area of Richmond. Excellent barber, excellent man, excellent musician, drummer, organizer, and a businessman. As I told you, he just doesn't know any football, you know. And I'm very glad to have Ernest on the show this morning. Ernest, are you there?
What's going on, Jack? What's going on?
How you doing, man? Ernest, call it for me on Sunday. Boston or Seattle?
I'm going New England, Jack.
Why are you going with New England?
Well, I think New England this year is it's more balanced than they've been before, and you don't keep sending Belichick and Brady to the Super Bowl and they come away empty-handed. I think they're a more balanced team, and for one reason, New England is really explosive, and I don't think Seattle can stop the explosive that they got. I watched how Seattle played. How they played Green Bay. They were dead in the water. But some way they pulled that game out, but they can't play that same kind of game playing New England.
But my reply to that would be that is what makes a championship game. You win the games you're supposed to lose. When you're down 16-0 at halftime, you come back and win the game in overtime. That is what makes a championship team. It breeds something in the blood and in the psyche of a team, and that's one of the reasons why I'm going with Seattle. Hold on, I'm gonna let you come back, Ernest. Another reason I'm going for Seattle. Seattle played in the toughest conference and the division, I think, in all of football. You going up against San Francisco and those teams out there year in and week in and week out. Number three, Boston has no one to match the athletic dexterity on the field of Russell Wilson. Okay. Your boy Brady is a sitting target. And if Seattle, and I guarantee you, they will get to Brady in that game. And once you put a couple of hits on Brady, he start throwing the ball in the first row of the seats. Your reply.
Well, see, what you fail to realize, Jack, when I told you in the very beginning, New England is a more balanced team this year. They got an awesome running game with that boy Blunt. They're more balanced. Defense is underrated. Now you holler about Seattle and
Wilson.
But now, who they got to handle this boy Crump, this tight end?
Oh, they have a defense that will handle him. They will have a defense. And when you start talking about running back, let me skip from this young man, this tight end. When you start talking about a running back, and you're talking about New England got a running back, well, Seattle got somebody up there they call beast mode.
I know they got a guy called beast mode, but I'm not going to say it too much, Jack, because I don't want to get fined. You feel what I'm saying?
What you mean you don't want to get fined? Or is it that you don't want to lose?
That's what beast mode said. I won't talk too much, Jack.
I love him. I love him.
I don't want to get fined, but I'm gonna tell you something, Jack. In that game against Green Bay, he wants to be found until the last quarter.
Well,
that ain't gonna be the same kind of game, Jack.
Ernest, I'm telling you, that is what makes a champion. When the game is on the line, you show up.
Okay.
That's what makes a champion. We're going to look at it. I hope you have a good weekend. And I'll tell you, man, you got to get a radio in your shop down there. Now, if you don't have one, you let me know and I'll get you one, because you need to listen to the Jack Gravely Show from 9 to 12 for your callers that come in there, because we talk about you a little bit on my show, man.
Yeah, but Jack, I'm going to say before I go, Jack.
Okay.
You be wrong so much. You make that time send me videos, okay?
All right, Ernest. All right, man. See you. Ernest the Barber, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. All right, let's go to William T. in Richmond. William T., you on the Jack Gravely Show.
Yeah, good morning, Jack.
Hey, man.
Just want to make a small comment about the game. I think, in a sense, you hit it right on the head, man. You know, what it is, like both of those teams, you know, they are physical. But just like Michael Irvin said, that Seattle's defense, they got a certain type of physicality, you know, and by them playing in that division with San Francisco and all those tough teams out there like that, man, Seattle, that game will be similar to the same way the Super Bowl was last year, man. Yeah, New England, they're not going to be able to handle it, man. Believe me. You know, because I can remember it was just a few guys in the community, Jack, that were just naturally strong. It's not that they were so much bigger than you were, but they were strong. And this team, the way they picked this team, you know what I mean, and put this team together, and having Russell Wilson, and which I really don't feel that he is getting his real proper respect. But this kid is a real quarterback, and he says that he plays the quarterback position the same way that Tony Parker plays point guard down there in San Antonio. You know, the same way. And man, this game, you know, it's not gonna really be that close, man.
Okay.
And people, we'll see.
We'll see. All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, William T. Let's go from William T. to my man Stacy. Stacy, you on the Jack Gravely Show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I have a couple of things. I think the Patriots will win. I think the Seattle secondary is too banged up. The guy with the big mouth, Sherman.
The guy with the big mouth that graduated from Stanford University with a 3.7 GPA in business. The guy who graduated number 2 in his high school class with a 4.0 big mouth. I'll take his big mouth.
Oh, I'll take it too, but I'm saying he's got a messed up arm, and Thomas, the free safety's hurt. And Sherman has done very well. I don't criticize him. I mean, he's from Compton, so that's another issue. People from Compton don't supposed to go to Stanford. Supposedly, I said that. But it should be as long as it's a good game.
All right.
And also, I got something a little different. You know, I listen to your show all the time, as you well know, and I call from time to time. And I think you've got a Mount Rushmore of callers that I really enjoy listening to. Number 1 is Muhammad. Number 2 is Lynn from Mechanicsville. Bill, I like him, and David T. I think they're your top 4 callers in my opinion. So I just wanted to change things up a little bit.
All right, thanks a lot, Stacey. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jack Gravely Show this morning on a Friday at 788-0990. It's a little overcast, but it is a nice day. But every day the good Lord sends is a nice day. It's a little overcast down here in metropolitan Richmond, Virginia. It was a sweet ride up from Petersburg this morning on I-95. Waze got me in town safe and sound. Very glad Billy is running the board. Open Topics Friday. Call in. We're talking football. We can talk whatever you want to talk. Of course, you know me. I always come in with an agenda. If it ever gets slow here on the show, we will do this. But remember, this is the show. All right? This is the show. Jack Gravely Show coming at you loud and clear. Hey, let's go on and take an early break. We're ahead of the curve this morning. I'm going to try to stay that way. Stay with us on the Jack Gravely Show.
Jack's just getting warmed up. Come on back after the break on WLEE News Talk 990.
Hello, I'm William Eastman. You know me as the executive producer of Richmond Biz Live. In my other role as managing partner of the GrowthWorks, I spend time helping business owners get their companies on track and paying them back for years of investment and sacrifice. However, before I can make the necessary changes, you must answer the following question. Where are you? In our research, we have identified 3 types of small business. 80% that are just getting by, 15% who are doing okay but wondering what's next, and then there's the 5% who dominate a market or a niche, and what they're wondering is, how do I break out? So I pose the question to you, where are you? If you want to understand this question and the significance of the answer better, go to our membership site, growthworks.net, and download our paper on Where Are You? Learn how to move from the 80% to the 15 and from the 15 to the 5%. This level of success and profitability is within your reach. Gain the advantage over your competitors by downloading it today.
When you're delivering your sermon or presenting an event, you want a powerful message with a powerful sound, and your delivery must be ideal. Even in church, it starts backstage, and at Backstage, you can have the best in audio and video equipment. Do it right. Do it with Backstage. Backstage is the leader in audio-video rentals and installation and live sound enrichment, with everything from lighting, amplifiers, equalizers, and mixers to wireless mics, video projection, and monitors. Whether it's for a business meeting, sermon, church event, or wedding, Backstage makes it complete. For rental and installation information and all of their services, check out their website at BackstageVA.com. That's BackstageVA.com. And visit Backstage in Richmond at 310 West Broad Street between Madison and Monroe, or call 644-1433. That's 644-1433. Do it today with Backstage.
Now, back to the Jack Gravely Show on WLEE News Talk 990.
Thank you very much for staying with me here on the Jack Gravely Show, coming to you from beautiful downtown Richmond, Virginia on a Friday morning. This is Open Topics Friday. This is your day. This is the day that anyone listening to this show can call in and bring up any topic, any subject, any issue, any policy, any debate, any dislike, any issue related to whatever you want to. Just understand I run a family-oriented, above-the-board show. Don't talk about anybody's mother and don't use any profanity. You can come on the Jack Gravely Show and say whatever you want to say, or whether I agree with you or not. And if I don't agree with you, I may let you know I don't agree with you. But you have a right to put your opinion out there. But always remember now, when you come on the Jack Gravely Show and you make a big claim, you got to bring big evidence. You got to. You just can't come out and make a statement and no backup, no reasoning, no rationale, no status, no report, no nothing on it. Come with it. Scott up in Mechanicsville, you're on.
Yes, sir. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Scott.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Scott, you have me on speakerphone? I got feedback coming from somewhere. Okay.
I got it.
All right. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Excuse me, sir.
No problem.
Yes, sir. Now, I'm going to talk about Open Topic Friday here.
Okay.
I was concerning that Keystone Pipeline deal.
Yes.
I was just noticing some information I read in a paper called Epoch Information. It's a free paper you get downtown Richmond. Anyway, they have some information on the size of the pipe. The average size of a pipe, oil pipeline, is 12 inches. This pipeline, Keystone Pipeline, is going to be 36 inches.
Okay,
now that's three times. But my point is, it also documented that it had 14,000 ruptures in pipelines over the past 6-7 years, and they had a real serious one.
So you're saying putting a larger pipeline presents more danger?
Yes, sir.
Scott, you got a radio or something on because we're hearing feedback. Something.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. You always cut your radio off and don't put me on speaker. Yeah, okay, okay, all right.
Yeah. But I thought that's a very, very serious, and we're not going to be using the oil, but I understand it.
Now, let me ask you this now, Scott. You know this for a fact that the pipeline is going to be a big 36-inch pipeline.
Yes, sir. I had it here in the paper. The paper is
That's a big pipeline, man.
Man,
that's huge.
And Mr. Gravely, you could almost get inside of the pipe.
Yes, sir. We could move in.
We could move.
Yes, sir. Now, wait a minute, Scott. If what you're saying is true.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word for it, Scott.
Yes, sir. And that really concerns me. Not only that, I worked in. I'm retired now. I'm an iron worker by trade, and I'm not a welder, but I worked around welding. If you don't sweat that pipe, that means get all the moisture out of it. You're going to have porosity in the well.
Okay.
That's going to see holes in the well.
Okay.
So therefore, you got to constantly monitor that. You just can't slap that in and turn the oil on and let the oil go through. You're going to automatically have rupture.
All right. I heard it from an iron worker. You can't be all bad because I got a brother that's an iron worker.
I heard you talk about it many times.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jack Gravely Show. One of the skills, just a little sidebar here, talking about welding and the iron workers. There is a growth in the industry for welders and iron workers in America. They're building pipelines. They're building refineries. They're building bridges. They're building buildings. Fort Lee has a welding program, but you have to be in the service to partake of that. Portsmouth, Virginia has a welding program. The shipyard down in the Tidewater area. Let me tell you, if I was a young man out of high school, 18, 19, 20 years old, not in the service, don't have a regular job, I would go somewhere and get me some training and certification to be a welder, a pipe fitter, a plumber, a iron worker. It's money. Welders are just entry-level welders start off making $16 to $24 an hour, depending on the project and where you're working. But you got to be certified. You got to know what you're doing. Let's go to the phone. Let's go to Stuart down in Petersburg. Stuart.
Howdy, Jack.
Yes, sir.
You know I'm a history freak, you know. You know that.
All right.
Jack, would this mark the 150th anniversary of the end of the Civil War? I don't have enough blacks with Black history last month talking about the Civil War in relation to now, today, you know, and after 150 years, where's black folks in America pertaining to freedom, for slavery, for peoples who fought and died? I don't hear enough of that, Jack. And this 150th anniversary is going to be a big time thing here in Petersburg and other areas. But I don't hear black folks saying anything about it. How we went in and looked like everything was stolen by Martin Luther King's birthday. And I'm not trying to knock him down, you know.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Well, I think as we get deeper in the year, that you're going to hear more about it, and I think you're going to hear more about it from the black community. It's just getting started, and you're right. Martin Luther King birthday sort of clears the field, that celebration and all like that. And really one of the things that I think that has happened with Dr. Martin Luther King is that in not only the black community, but in the community across America, the only black man that's ever done anything in America was Martin Luther King. Not knocking him down at all. There have been other great men that's done great things in here. He's the most notable. But you see, we can't help that because Martin Luther King came of age as television was coming of age. Martin Luther King came of age when they could put something on celluloid and film it and show it over and over again. Martin Luther King came to the age when there was a great change in the history, the movement in America. Martin Luther King came to the stage like no other black man ever in history had ever come to stage with all of those other surrounding factors, and I think that's why it clears the field. And then him too. And then him too.
But I would love some people to put, I do it at my museum, I have the right, to go back and Soldier of Truth, the role she played. Even talk about Malcolm X, even relation to the Minister Farrakhan there, and different things about how we have struggled, and we look at it after 150 years, where are we? What benchmark us?
Well, you know, believe it or not, Stuart, it is out there and it is talked about. It just all depends on where you are and where you go. We may not hear a lot about it in Petersburg or Richmond, but you go to Atlanta, to New York, you go to other places, you go to museums across the country, you read other articles, you go online, you go to some of these college campuses. It's been talked about. It's out there. It all depends on where you go and who you are in reference to what kind of media you attach to. It may not be enough, but some of it is out there. I know it is because I see it.
All right, Jack.
All right, man. All right, Stuart. All right, man. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jack Gravely Show coming to you from WLEE News Talk 990. And let me tell you, we have at least one person, Dr. Ayers at University of Richmond is an expert on the Civil War and a very knowledgeable person. He's been on this show on several occasions, and we're going to have him in the future. Let's go to Richmond. Spencer, you're on the Jack Gravely Show. Spencer. Line 2, okay. Spencer, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Yeah, how you doing today, Jack?
Hey, Spencer.
Y'all bring up an interesting topic and one I've thought about often about Dr. Martin Luther King.
Uh-huh.
And in no way will I ever demean anything he did because he obviously gave this country a conscience, and that was probably one of his greatest things he did for us. But I've always said also that Dr. Martin Luther King, John Kennedy, Abraham Lincoln, and countless others who gave their life at the height of their power became a photo of them at their best points, and we never had to see the weaknesses and the growing old. So that gave their memory much of a stronger point than people we see from early days until later days.
Okay.
They're frozen in time, given that speech, I Have a Dream. They're frozen in time, ask what your country can do.
Well, you know, as I just said, these men came of age when TV came of age. They came of age when everything could be put on camera, on celluloid, film, and it froze them, as you said, in history. It was all about TV and the mass media. There were other great men. There were people like W.E.B. Du Bois. There were people like Adam Clayton Powell who had some TV time. But Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, and Lyndon Baines Johnson and people like that, Malcolm X came of age when TV was everywhere. Reporters were everywhere. It was mobile. It was visible. And it was competitive. And it froze them in time. Just think if we had pictures of Frederick Douglass or Lincoln on tape, or his voice, his picture, his speeches, would be the same thing.
But I've got to say, as a 67-year-old white, mainly conservative individual, I have a lifetime of gratitude not have to face up until he brought it to TV.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Spencer. Jack Gravely Show coming to you from beautiful downtown Richmond, Virginia. We've been talking about Suge Knight. We've been talking about Keystone Pipeline. We've been talking about the game, talking about Martin Luther King. Those are some of the open topic issues we're talking about today. You can be on the air to talk about whatever you want to on the show this morning. My telephone number is 788-0990. Now, my toll-free number, and that means you can call this station from anywhere in America and lands beyond. Well, Virginia and lands beyond, 877-953-3990, and that gets you in the house. Let's go to David T. David T., you on the Jack Gravely Show.
Morning, Mr. Gravely.
Yeah, man, I'm making you a star, boy.
On Dr. King.
Yeah.
We let the mass media do a terrible disservice because all that show is I Have a Dream. In my estimation, that's just them perpetrating a fraud because you got all these people bandwagon how much they love Dr. King and how great his dream is and all that kind of stuff. Well, I remember when all that was going on, he was like person non grata in 3/4 of the country, 3/4 of the churches, the civic organizations and everything else. They were scared stiff to get anywhere near Dr. King because they were afraid the white masses might hold the money or do whatever to him. And his greatest, like you said once before, you mentioned letters from Birmingham jail.
Yeah.
Okay. The truth, the real hard-hitting, hard-biting stuff from Dr. King, where he called this country to task.
Right.
They threw that in the dustbins of history, and you don't, unless you do some serious research. And I don't blame the mass media. I blame us because we all clamor to that I Have a Dream crap. I ain't had that kind of dream he had. I never did. I couldn't see that. And I cannot see that.
Wait a minute, David T. You could not see what Dr. King was talking about in I Have a Dream. You can't give any props to the speech at all? Hello, David T. You can call back. You just dropped. We didn't cut you off. We're going to go to a break. Jack Gravely Show.
If you want more of Jack, stick around. He'll be right back on WLEE News Talk 990.
You know, sometimes looking your best will require a little help. That's when Johnson's Beauty Salon at 402 North 2nd Street comes in. Johnson's Beauty Salon, a licensed professional salon, can provide you with the shampoo, hair trims, coloring, weaves, relaxer, flat iron, and all the other hair needs you would want. The shop personnel are all professional and dedicated to providing you the best service in the city. Johnson's Beauty Salon, open from Tuesday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. The telephone number is area code 804-649-2572. They're open Saturdays from 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Walk-ins are always welcome. Appointments after 5 p.m. are required on weekdays. call Johnson's Beauty Salon at 649-2572. We have told you about Faith Sharon Daycare Center in Ashland, a daycare center with program staff and a facility that provides your loved ones with the best of care in a social setting that is safe and well managed. The Faith Sharon Daycare Center at 325 South Hill Carter Parkway in Ashland is a daycare center that will provide the very best for your family member. You can call them at area code 804-337-6680 or 307-0707. Faith Sharon Daycare Center is a home away from home. Games, walks, exercises, breakfast, lunch, and just good, positive social environment with the peers for your family members is a large part of what makes Faith Sharon Daycare Center successful. Visit them or call them at 337-6680 or 307-0707.
Captain Eric Lawrence was training Afghan soldiers when his truck was hit by an IED.
I was on the way from Kandahar to Kalat, hit an IED that just took the truck and threw it up in the air and slammed it on the ground. I knew at first that I got hurt pretty bad because I couldn't move my legs. I sat home alone for months. And I didn't want that anymore. I wanted to go back to work. I was hesitant at first, because I didn't work for a good year. I want to be a productive person. I don't want to be a drain on society. I want to be a positive thing in society. PVA helped me write my resume, got me a job interview. I got the job.
Helping veterans like Eric is what we've done for over 65 years. Paralyzed Veterans of America, paving access for veterans' employment through Operation PAVE. For more information, visit pva.org. A public service message from Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Last night we put on an epic light show.
Yeah, we did.
The crowd loved us. We love the crowd.
Wait, but there were only 4 people out there.
Yeah, but did you see their 4 faces? All 8 of their eyes lit up brighter than ours. And we're fireflies.
Yeah, we are.
Hey, that one girl, she looked like she'd never seen glow in the dark like this before, and we invented glow in the dark.
Yeah, we invented it.
And we're gonna be out here every night rocking out our light show at a forest near you.
Woohoo!
So come check us out.
Check us out.
And bring your kid, all ages show. Oh, but don't bring any of those glass jars, because they make us kind of nervous.
Yeah, and I'm super claustrophobic.
Whether you're rocking their world or they're rocking yours, some memories never fade. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you and discover other cool things to do when you go, like fishing, biking, or even camping. Visit discovertheforest.org.
See you later!
Yeah, see you soon.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Now, more with Jack Gravely on WLEE News Talk 990.
Thank you very much for staying with me on the Jack Gravely Show. It's a Friday. We're on. David T, apologize. It was not our fault. We didn't cut you off, man.
No, it was my fault, Jack.
Okay.
Yeah, I apologize.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, as you were saying, no, Jack, is what I said. They reduced him to a slogan and put that palatable stuff so the rest of the people could swallow it. But that wasn't even the essence of Dr. Martin Luther King, because, like I said, letters from Birmingham jail.
That is the piece that most Americans have not read, and if they read it, they would get a different view. I think one of the most powerful writings that he ever made was the letters from the Birmingham jail. I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, and he got it when after that Washington, D.C. publicity stunt. The things.
What Washington?
Okay, I take that. That's a little bit harsh.
Yes, that is. You talking about "I Have a Dream" speech?
Yeah.
Come on, David T. I almost cut you off on that, man. That wasn't no publicity stunt. You can have a critical analysis or something, but you got to respect. That was one of the greatest speeches ever made.
I apologize.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I'll put it this way. It's been reduced to a publicity stunt.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I put it like that in my humble estimation, because if you look at it, that's all they throw at you. The critical look that he took at this country, you never heard when he's talking about the poor, the dispossessed.
Yeah, and the war in Vietnam. And the economic disparities in the country. And he also jumped the church and ministers, especially in the Birmingham jail, because the letter from the Birmingham jail was to the white ministers of Birmingham.
That's right.
And he took them on. And I agree with you, but no publicity stunt, man. All right, David
I said
T.
reduce. I said
all right,
reduce.
man. I'm messing with you, man. I'm messing with you. All right, man.
You know, we know what's up. That's
all right, man.
All
right, we'll see you. Let's go to Robert. Robert, you're on the Jack Gravely show.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning, Robert.
I was you speaking about Dr. King. I saw in the paper the other day. I just happened to be going through the newspaper, and I saw where the Sherman was waiting on the judge to rule on who would get his historical Bible. I mean, I don't know why they won't just take the Bible and donate it to one of the museums where everybody, can have a chance to see and, read whatever they want out of that Bible that he used, and not just, give it to one of the children.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Robert. Appreciate it.
Okay.
I think the battle and a lot of stuff going on with Martin Luther King's kids in reference to the wealth and money is problematic. I have some serious problems with some of the acts and action as a family. I have no problems with them saying that if everybody else is going to benefit financially off of their father's work, they should certainly benefit too. And I agree with that. No problem whatsoever. But the way they've gone about it, the internal fighting, I have major problems with it. Let's go with David R. David R., you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Yes, hello, Jack.
Hey.
Since we're on the subject of Dr. King, I saw the Henry Louis Gates program last night, The Americans, and featured some of the issues in the civil rights movement, showed a lot of footage of Stokely Carmichael, Dr. King, showed the Selma March. But in regards to his son's attempted to sell his Nobel Peace Prize, I mean, there's just something ethically wrong with that, Jack. I can understand
I agree.
profit,
I agree.
but they're already rich in terms of wealth is concerned, average person's wealth. I mean, they sold some papers a few years ago that netted them something like $30 million between the three of them. So they're already wealthy in those terms. I just don't really understand that at all, and I hope it doesn't.
Greed and vanity. Greed and vanity.
I mean, they're already rich.
Yeah.
I mean, they sold some papers, not as significant as the Nobel Peace Prize, and they already made over $30 million from that sale. You can research it.
Or if I were a son or daughter of his, I would donate the Nobel Peace Prize to his alma mater. I would give it to Morehouse College.
I would too, and hopefully if they do decide, the courts decide to give it to the sons instead of the daughter, that, some of these black athletes, Oprah Winfrey, all these other wealthy people can get together, buy it, and do that.
I wouldn't sell it. I would give it to Morehouse College.
Right, but they want to sell it. They're saying they already have a buyer.
Okay, all right.
Take care.
All right, thank you. How do you sell your father's legacy, something like that? I mean, you're already rich. You already have money. Don't know all the ins and outs of it, but, I've always had problems with some of the conduct of the King kids in reference to it just seemed like it was a drive to use and to get money. But hold on. Now, if other folk going to use his name and they going to make money, then why can't the kids make money? Ladies and gentlemen, the Jack Gravely Show coming to you from WLEE News Talk 990 in beautiful downtown Richmond, Virginia. My telephone number is 788-0990, 788-0990. And, this is Open Topics Friday. Several of the hot issues around. Well, I'm not going to call them because, see, then you're going to accuse me of taking over. You said if it was Open Topics Friday, and some of the issues we've talked about here this morning is Suge Knight. We've talked about the Keystone Pipeline with a call in or two about the game and the Martin Luther King speech and kids and selling and all like that. We've had all of those calls come in this morning. Caller called in about what Martin Luther King had taught him. We had Ernest the Barber to call in about the game this Sunday between Seattle and Boston. Who do you think is going to win it and why? USA Today has a big section on hold on. They have their sports section. They have masterminds, Belichick and Carroll, and they have a chessboard behind them, as if these guys are just not coaches, but they are intellectual coaches. They are smart coaches. They are analytical coaches. And big thing in there, let me tell you, for those of you who talk about Boston is going to walk or Boston is going to beat them real bad, go read that article in USA Today for whatever it's worth. Let's go. Is that Abe? Adi, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Yeah, good morning, Jack.
Good morning. Artie, you got to turn your radio off or turn speakers off. I'm getting feedback already, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Jack.
Hello.
Yeah, today's open topics, right?
Yeah, Open Topics Friday, yes.
Okay. I just want to say something about the Islam, the Islamic.
Okay.
Somebody called about the First Lady trying to have an handshake with the Prince of Saudi Arabia. It is their culture, right? But my contribution is that when you have a visitor, a guest, visiting you, and they are not having the knowledge of your culture, you need to you need to talk with them, consult with them before you come to the opening. That is a very big disgrace. You see, everybody has a culture.
Right.
The problem with the Islam is that they want to impose their culture on every nation, which is not possible. The Christians, they have their culture. The Jews, they have their culture. They go around the whole world and they don't impose their culture on anybody.
You're saying that's what Islam do. Hey, look, Adi, I got to get out of here and go to news break, man. I got to go to news. Thanks a lot for your call. Appreciate it. Thomas, you may want to hang up and call on the other side. I got to take a break for news here on the Jack Gravely Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Jack Gravely Show.
Hey, it's Guy Fieri, and before the game, it's all about the tailgating. Burgers, sausage and peppers, onions, hot wings, you name it. But come game time, if you got yourself a whole bunch of heartburn, roll out the Rolaids.
Don't let heartburn keep you from enjoying the things you love. Rolaids gets you back in the action fast. Its dual-active formula neutralizes more acid than Tums. For indigestion and heartburn, get rapid relief with Rolaids.
Rolaids? Now that's how you spell relief.
Use as directed. Acid neutralization may not correlate with symptom relief.
Does your business thrive by serving other businesses? Would you like a healthy, steady flow of B2B leads that are customized to grow sales? Hoovers has developed a best-in-class lead generation tool that makes it easy for you to find targeted leads for your business. You'll be amazed at how easy it is to get the right leads fast. Try it today for free. Get 50 free leads and a 24-hour trial. Just call 800-601-7780. 800-601-7780. 800-601-7780.
I'm Sally, a volunteer at United Way. I'm asking people around the neighborhood what they think this place needs. Excuse me, hi. What do you think this place needs?
I'd like to see more parking.
More playgrounds.
Free movies.
Oh, that's easy. Better restaurants.
And you, what do you think this place needs?
This place? Oh, more ice cream trucks.
Okay. How about you?
Wi-Fi everywhere?
I was thinking more money in the pockets of local families come tax time.
Can I change my answer?
I was just kidding about the ice cream.
Oh, that's way better.
Now that you mention it.
When it comes to getting better tax refunds into the hands of local families, what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org. Because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
For news from the worlds of home maintenance, travel, vehicles, and investing, stay tuned every Saturday to News Talk 990, WLEE Richmond.
CBS News, I'm Dave Barrett. Twice before Mitt Romney's run for the White House, will he do so again? We're live with CBS's Barry Bagnato in Washington. And Barry, might we get a more clear picture an hour from now?
Romney is due to update supporters in a conference call. CBS News political director John Dickerson says signs are pointing toward another Republican run for the White House.
There are a lot of people who are skeptical in the party. Of course, there were a lot of people who were skeptical the first and second time that he ran, and one of his biggest problems is that people think he sort of changes his positions to meet the mood of the moment. So this is now the third version of Mitt Romney.
With so many potential GOP contenders jockeying for position and fundraising dollars, candidates appear to be hurrying their consideration. Romney would be competing for support with Jeb Bush, who's viewed by many in the party to be, like him, more moderate. Dave?
More measles concerns with the Southern California outbreak now spreading to 14 states, about 100 confirmed cases. If you haven't had measles and are around a lot of people, CBS's Dr. Holly Phillips says you're taking a sizable risk.
If you're unvaccinated and you're in close contact with someone who has it, there's a 90% transmission rate. Not only can people cough and sneeze it on you, but it lingers in the air for up to 2 hours.
So experts say getting a measles vaccination is in most cases a smart idea. Still nothing firm about the fate of hostages ISIS extremists hold, a Japanese journalist and a captured Jordanian fighter pilot. Reporter Dale Gavlak in Amman.
People are very tense because there's been no word. And, of course, as we know, this deadline has long since passed, and no one knows what the situation is.
ISIS has been demanding the release of a terrorist held by Jordan. In northern Pakistan, an explosion at a mosque. At least 49 people are dead. Stateside trouble for L.A. rap producer Suge Knight. KNX's Pete Demetrio is at the West Hollywood station.
Knight came into the sheriff's station accompanied by his attorney, and after about 3 hours of discussion with investigators here, he has been arrested and charged with murder.
Sheriff's Department Lieutenant John Corina says Suge Knight was at a fast food place. There was an argument, and allegedly Knight got into a pickup truck.
Well, it looks like he drove backwards and struck the victims and then went forward and struck them again as he left.
One man died, another is hospitalized in what police are saying is a hit and run. Suge Knight behind bars, and the bail is set at $2 million. Despite some strong showing in consumer spending, the government says the economy slowed in the fourth quarter with 2.6% growth. Economist Gus Fauché.
I don't view this as a signal of weakness in the economy. I think the economy continues to expand at an above-trend pace, and we'll continue to see solid job growth.
Good times for Miranda Lambert.
I cut my bangs with some rusty kitchen scissors.
She's got 8 nominations.
I screamed his name till the neighbors called the cops.
This year's Academy of Country Music Awards. Wall Street, the Dow is down 39 points. This is CBS News.
Drive a diesel? Then performance improvement, trouble-free winter operation, and proper fuel tank hygiene are important to you. And whether you drive a diesel, car, truck, tractor, or big rig, you can rely on the experts at Power Service. When the temperature drops below 30 degrees, add a bottle of diesel fuel supplement plus cetane boost every time you fill up. It prevents fuel from gelling and protects against fuel filter icing. Any diesel engine will run better with Power Service. Visit powerservice.com to learn more and get your year-round maintenance schedule.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
Here's a look at area headlines on WLEE News Talk 990.
Gastroenteritis is hitting Central Virginia so bad, Hampden-Sydney College in Farmville is canceling classes. The school canceled classes until Monday because close to 300 students are sick from it. Officials say it's hit a point where it makes sense to stop operating. Richmond police are set for a public forum with local protesters on February 10th. They're addressing conduct and several other issues. Citizens will write questions which will be read by radio personality Clovia Lawrence. It's from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Police Training Academy. Richmond is a little behind on building the Stone Brewery facility. Economic development officials say there's a lot to be done before they can start building. Richmond agreed to lend $23 million to build the brewery. They're expected to pay back over time.
With your latest newscast, I'm Billy Flynn on WLEE News Talk 990.
Now, the weather forecast from News Talk 990.
Today, partly cloudy, high of 41. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 18. Tomorrow, clear skies, high of 42. Tomorrow night, clear skies, low of 26. Sunday, cloudy, a slight chance of rain, high of 47. Sunday night, cloudy, a slight chance of rain, low of 38. Monday, cloudy, rain likely, high of 42. Tuesday, clear skies, high of 38.
That's your latest weather forecast from WLEE News Talk 990.
Woohoo! All right.
What is it?
I got into state.
Yes. What's the other letter?
Oh, no.
If you're a young man and fail to register with Selective Service within 30 days of your 18th birthday, you will not be eligible for financial aid.
No.
To register, visit sss.gov on your computer or smartphone. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
You are now entering the world of Jack Gravely, a talk show you can participate in, believe in, and a host you can disagree with. So sit back and listen to the edgy, entertaining, and educational Grand Central station of talk radio in beautiful downtown Richmond, Virginia. The Jack Gravely Show begins right now.
Thank you very much for staying with me on the Jack Gravely Show, coming to you from WLEE News Talk 990 in Richmond. We're in our second hour here, 10 o'clock here today. It's Open Topics Friday. Open Topics Friday, whatever you wish to talk about. We've had an excellent first hour, as we have every day. We appreciate it very much. Big show, little show, medium size. This is the show. The Jack Gravely Show here, coming to you from WLEE News Talk 990 in Richmond, Virginia. Very delighted to be here with you. Telephone number 788-0990, 788-0990. My toll-free number is 877-953-3990. Get it to me, and we will let you know what the deal is here in the Jack Gravely Show. Open Topics Friday, as I said, you can call in and talk about anything that you wish to talk about today. We've been talking Suge Knight. In fact, if you heard just the news report, Suge Knight has been charged with murder. That was quick, fast, and he's gone. If the facts as presented as what happened in California yesterday, Suge Knight, big promoter, and always had problems, and in fact, he just got out of jail about 7-8 years ago. Suge Knight may very well be going to jail, and if he's got a first-degree murder rap and they get him, he's going to probably get life because he's a 3-time loser in California. Keystone Pipeline, The Game, Martin Luther King, Islam, and again, when you call into the radio show, not only this show but any show, cut your radio off. You cannot be in the same room trying to listen to yourself on radio. You get feedback. You get interference. So go in a room where there is no radio, and do not put. It's best not to talk with the speakerphone on. You get interference there. And the best line you can call from, unless you're in a good location with good contact, is a landline. But a lot of the cell phones today have excellent contact, and you can call on cell phones. I'm quite sure a lot of people call us on the Jack Gravely Show. But the big thing is turn your radio off and speakerphone off because you get interference. Open Topics Friday here on the Jack Gravely Show, 788-0990. Just a little personal aside. Got my telephone bill yesterday. I have my internet, cable TV, and telephone service in what telephone companies call a bundle, a package. All three of those services are wrapped up into the same package on my bill. Well, when I got my bill yesterday, Ryan, my bill was $50 more than last month's bill. Okay? Telephone number. So I started calling, and I said, wait, what's going on here? You know, my bill last month $100, this month $156. I want to know what happened. And the question is, so I got on the phone. I called the telephone company, and we talked for about 20 minutes. When the conversation was ended, when we ended the conversation, my bill was $50 less than what they charged me for. So what am I saying here? Hold on just one second. Let's go to Rob. Rob, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, Rob.
Can we continue with the subject of reparations that we started, I think, on Tuesday or Monday?
You can continue with whatever you like to.
Okay. Anyway, you were in favor, and I was saying as much as it would be nice if we could do it, it just would be an impractical thing and cause more problems than we presently have.
And why would it be impractical and cause more problems? Why?
Okay, first, how are you going to determine who gets it? How are you going to determine how much?
Okay.
So if you can determine that, then the next question is who. And I'll just use a personal experience, here. If I were to have to pay, then I would resent that. Now, and if you decide, and you ask yourself, would it be unfair? I mean, my ancestors were sharecroppers. I mean, so I probably my people probably suffered. Well, no, I wouldn't say that. Let's put it this way: my people suffered from the system. Certainly not as much as your people did.
No. The way you cover that is there were poor people just like there were poor slave black people. There always have been poor white folk, and they're still with us. So I understand that. But go on.
All right. So if you decide it would be unfair for me to have to pay it, then it just creates another complaint that was going to go forward, and my descendants are going to say that's not fair. We should have gotten something. So I just think it would be so complex, and it's not that it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying. I wish there was a way. You look at the Rockefeller family. Now Rockefeller did things that we later, established as being, created them as crimes. Antitrust, things like that. Now, I've always felt that, yes, his descendants should have to pay back something to the people. So I like your concept. I just think that it would, at some point in time, people have to, let's use the term, turn the other cheek. Now, I wouldn't like it if I was the one that was having to turn the other cheek, and I felt like, well, I was entitled to something. So, but I just think it would create more problems. Now, hopefully you agree with me here. There have been attempts to correct the wrongs that are done, like affirmative action and things like that. There were attempts. Now, the affirmative action, you see that there are a lot of people, and white people, let's call them white people, who think that was wrong. And then they say that some of them were not able to get into college because of people who were given favoritism. And then they have resentment. And so it'll just go on. At some point in time, it's something I'm not even sure I could do, but somebody has to be noble enough to say, I understand, I'm willing to accept it. Let's just make sure we don't make those mistakes in the future.
All right. First and foremost, this is just not you raised a lot of issues, and I'm going to hit some of them quickly. This is just not another complaint. This issue has been on the table in America since the Civil War. So it's just not another complaint that popped up 50 years ago or popped up 25 years ago. It has been General Sherman brought it up. Congress even debated the issue. So it's been on the table for over 150 years. That's number one. Number two, who would pay it? Who sponsored slavery in America? Who benefited from slavery in America? Who passed the laws of slavery in America? The governments of the United States and the states did that. So it wouldn't be hard to determine. And who benefited from it? Certain banks to this very day can trace their records and show the benefits that they got from slavery. I don't think it would be difficult to find out who exactly would have to pay. The other question you raised is who would the money go to? I wouldn't expect the government to walk through the United States and find every black person and give them a check. I would think the money would be paid to black colleges and universities. It would be paid to black organizations for training. It would be paid to community organizations. But more than anything else, colleges and universities, in my opinion. I would not expect to get a check. My brother would not expect to get it and wouldn't want it. If it's a choice between giving it to organizations and colleges and universities, give it to colleges and universities and organizations. Number two, when you talk about, well, black folk, you need to turn your other cheek. Did the Jews turn their other cheek about Holocaust? No, they did not. Did the Asians turn another cheek when they were sent to camps here in the United States and the United States government paid? No, they did not. Did the Indians turn another cheek in reference to reparations for taking their land and all that on their in the West and in the United States? No, they did not. So if the Jews And if the Asians and if the Indians did not turn another cheek, why would you expect black folk to turn another cheek? The other point you brought up was affirmative action. Affirmative action was piecemeal. Affirmative action was crumbs off the table. And when you start talking about who was not qualified, let me tell you, you don't hear anyone ever complaining about black athletes going to these major universities to make big money. And let me say it for the record. And if you think every one of those running backs, tackles, cornerbacks, and quarterbacks all qualify just like everybody else to go to Michigan State, Ohio State, who happen to be black, you better wake up and start dreaming again. So don't tell me this thing about affirmative action. And then in the affirmative action programs that have passed, the people that the records have shown that has benefited more from affirmative action haven't been black men, haven't been black women. It has been white females that have benefited most from the affirmative action. I wish I could go further, and I can tell you, if you want to call in with Dr. Jeffries on 11 o'clock this morning, call in and run it by Dr. Jeffries. He's even better qualified than me to answer the question. I got to move, man. Thanks a lot, Rob.
Okay.
All right, Lenny and Earl and others, stay with me on the Jack Gravely Show. Be right back.
Jack will be right back. Call into the show at 788-0990.
Every day, more than 1.4 million American lives are disrupted by Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. This year alone, 70,000 new cases will be diagnosed, and more of those are children. Nearly 75% of patients with Crohn's disease will require one or more surgeries at some point in their lives. Those are the facts, but they don't speak to the daily realities of living with Crohn's or colitis. Excruciating pain, a lifetime of medication, and days when they can't even get out of bed. There's a good chance you know someone suffering with Crohn's or colitis. Someone like me. I'm Amy Brenneman, and I'm asking you to support the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America. CCFA was created to help millions of us cope and to find cures. Visit ccfa.org today to learn more, donate, or join an event. It's time to face the facts and reach out to help someone you know at ccfa.org.
At any given moment, somewhere in America, a baby is taking a first step, a developmental milestone. But for too many parents, a baby's first steps aren't just a milestone, they're a miracle. These are the parents of babies who were born prematurely or with birth defects. It's a crisis affecting more than 500,000 babies in the United States each year. You can help them by joining volunteers like you who walk in March for Babies. The money you raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Together, our steps make stronger, healthier babies a reality for thousands of families. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org to take the steps that help make milestones and even miracles possible. Who will you march for?
Introducing the YMCA. What, you already know the why? Or so you think. Sure, you know the why for a swim, a workout, even a game of hoops. But did you know we're more than that? We're a cause. When you take your jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Take a cardio class, while kids are in an after-school enrichment program. Practice your downward-facing dog as a teen practices her leadership skills. That's the why. We work with people no matter their age, income, or background and give them the opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive, all with one simple goal in mind, to strengthen our community. And we've got so much more that does just that. So while you might think of the Y as that place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. Introducing the Y. We're so much more than a place. We're a cause. Visit ymca.net/more.
I'm in the car next to you on the highway, heading to work. I sit in front of you on the bus. I work in the office down the hall and stand next to you in the elevator. We've known each other for years, and I've told you a lot about my life. But of all the things you know about me, here's one you don't. I'm one out of every 6 Americans, and I'm struggling with hunger. This isn't an incurable disease. It's not an uncontrollable epidemic. There's enough food in this country to feed every hungry person. This problem is closer than you think. Fortunately, so is the solution. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for those around you, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Now, more with Jack Gravely on WLEE News Talk 990.
Thank you very much for staying with us on the Jack Gravely Show. Dr. Jeffries, 11 o'clock. We can talk reparations. I don't know if he's going to be prepared to talk it. Let's go to Lenny on the Jack Gravely Show. Lenny, you on the Jack Gravely Show.
Good morning, Jack.
Good morning, Lenny. Yes.
That's great. Yeah, look, our ancestors worked for free labor. We will never give up the fight until we get paid.
Okay.
We'll never give up the fight. And look, do you get the free press?
Yes. I pick it up every Friday.
In the editorial page, it's a piece that Ron Busley wrote. Economic boycotts are still just as tools that work.
I agree with you.
Look, go ahead, Jack.
I have always been an advocate, and I still am. Economic boycott and who and where you spend your money is a very, very important tool. It's your money. You can decide who you spend it with and where you spend it with. And I can tell you, there are a lot of black folks that spend money with companies and organizations and businesses in this country that do nothing for the community. Now, if you don't spend it and it's not there, then what do? You open up the same business. You open up the same. I've always said, people don't support the community. You don't spend money with them. Just that simple. You're not breaking any law. You don't have to say a word, and you can walk by them and speak to them every day of the week. I just don't spend money with you. I don't shop at your business. And I make that, and if enough people in the community took that attitude with some of the businesses that come into the community and do nothing but take resources out, there'll be a big change.
You're exactly right. And another thing about it, black people in America spend $1 trillion, Jack. $1 trillion. If you take $1 trillion out of the economy, it would collapse.
Stop going to malls on Saturdays and see what happens. Just for 2 weeks. You haven't got to do it for Martin Luther King and his people had the Montgomery bus boycott for over a year. A year. Just stop going to the mall for about a month and see what happens. All right, Lenny. I'm sorry. Go on. I'm sorry.
And if you get a chance, check that piece out and look.
What free press was it in? This week's, last week, or what?
January 22nd to 24th.
January 22nd, 24th. That was last week. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
And look here. If you stop spending money, the Supreme Court will stand up and take notice.
All right, man. All right.
Have a nice
Thanks
day,
a lot,
Jack.
Lenny. Thank you. Let's go to Earl. Earl, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Good morning, Brother Jack.
Good morning.
I don't think nobody else can make a case the way that you did in reference to reparations, because to me you hit every point. You used precedents as far as cases to show that it should be there as far as the Chinese and all that stuff. So I don't know if anything else can be added to that, but I want to piggyback on your point about Dr. King, because not only did he do the march, which he also did it through the legislation. Here I go again, that HUD Act, 1968. That also was about economic empowerment. But he didn't just define it to black folks. He defined it to low and very low income. So those are the other options that you're speaking of that we have available that we need to focus in on in order to get those types of, should we say?
Okay.
Because it's going to be hard to try to do anything else. But we do have that avenue, and I hope that we look at that as well as the others as well.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Earl. Let's go to Nathan. Nathan, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Good morning, Jack.
Good morning, Nathan.
Jack, I don't want to step on your toes this morning, but look, when you talk about the when you talk about boycotts and economic boycotts, it brings me to a thought. Where is the civil rights organizations today? I see them more in the glitz and glamour of giving awards and being at award ceremony and naming the spotlights of different events, but I don't see the grassroots out in front. Do you view that the same way, or am I missing something?
Well, some people have said that, and to some degree, I think some of that is true. And that's, I lay at the feet of a word you call leadership. I think it's leadership. I think black folk have gotten lazy and fat in America. And I can say that without being called a racist. I think we've gotten lazy, we've gotten fat. I think top echelon leaders in some organizations are more about appearing with stars in Hollywood and professional athletes than they are about doing the dog and donkey work in the community. Some of them, some organizations do not. I don't want anyone to say all, because all is not true. But yes, I think we've gotten fat and lazy. I think we've arrived. I think we think there are no more roads to clear, no more forests to clear in reference to issues, metaphorically speaking of issues. I think that they feel that since they got their pick-em-up truck, their 60-inch television set, and their concert ticket, they got their freedom. I think it's wrong. Black colleges are in trouble. Black businesses are in trouble. Young teens are in trouble. Crime is in trouble. Birth rate is in trouble. High school graduation is in trouble, and yet still they're concerned about who's going to be at the Oscars or who's going to get the award of the year. Some. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Let's go to Willard. Willard, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Good morning, Jack.
Good morning, Willard.
Jack, I hate to say it, I'm on my way to Charlottesville right now to go to that school, that school up there.
Great school up in Charlottesville.
Oh, that school, that is. There's a school up there.
I know it's not the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, but it's still a great school. I understand that.
It is a great school.
All right.
Jack, I still have a problem with reparations. What about all those planners that lost all that money when the war was won? They lost. They purchased the slaves. Now we're not dealing. I'm dealing economics. I'm not dealing morality. The morally was corrupt and whatever. But from a financial standpoint, from an economic standpoint, they purchased this all fair and square, legal, and this, that, and the other. And the Constitution at that time, it was part of that Constitution. You and I've talked about this being a state-sponsored institution, and of course, even the Virginians referred to it as a peculiar institution because they really didn't know. They knew it was wrong, but it was too ingrained in the economy of the South. And don't forget, as I told you before, it was a $10 trillion, if in 2009 money, a $10 trillion industry. And it was $10 trillion now.
I hear what you're saying. Okay, you've had your minute and a half. I don't think you can divorce economics from morality in the time and period that we're talking about. Economics was morality. Morality was economics then because it had all been codified under the laws of the state. Hold on. And by the mere fact that you're saying, or Willard, that it was legal by laws that subjugated human beings to some of the worst conditions on planet Earth, they knew it was wrong. Okay, if it wasn't wrong, why did they fight a war over it? If it wasn't wrong, why did they change all the laws? Now, I think reparations are something that I don't expect every white person to understand, or even some black people to understand. But I can tell you, when other folks stepped up to the table for reparations, you didn't hear those kind of arguments. The argument was how much. It wasn't whether they're going to give it. The second thing is this. Even though they have white farmers, plantation owners, businessmen lost stuff through the Civil War, look at the generations over 350 years prior to the Civil War and the ending of slavery, de jure of slavery in this country, that they benefited from it. So they lost. But you lost in the stock market today if you go wrong. So I don't think.
But that's true. True, you can lose in the stock market. In fact, a friend of mine that's going up there with me made the point. The point is, stock market and slavery, I think, are two different things because you're dealing with human beings.
Exactly. But the thing is, what I'm saying, economically in America, you lose. Your investment, you can lose. I don't take the investment of white farmers and plantation owners and businessmen because they lost and their equipment and homes were destroyed after the Civil War. That's war. They lost.
Right. Well, then, if you want to go that way, and don't forget from a legal standpoint, the slave, and this is the very difficult thing for a human being to understand. The slave was property.
Chattel. Exactly right.
Exactly.
Oh, and you don't have to qualify it. You can say it straight up.
You can say it was the wash. That okay, all right. So the slave that was my property. That was my stock,
exactly.
So to speak, and I lost that. And so I paid. That's my pay. I lost that. I played the slavery game. I lost, and okay.
Okay.
And so that's it. Which again does not answer the question that you're talking about. Deals with reparations, and of course, if you went into the Holocaust thing about who gets money back, and
right.
In that case, it didn't last that long.
Well, you answer me this, Willard, and I got to get out of here because I'm over break. Willard, okay. Once reparations was established for the Jews in Nazi Germany, reparations for Asians who were put in internment camps in America, did you hear anyone going back making the argument of what those who had to pay it or lost were going to receive, or that they lost this or they lost it? You never heard that argument.
No, but they had the records. They knew. I mean,
but you never heard that. Tell me, you never heard that argument, though, Willard. That argument never came up. Oh, they lost their plows, they lost their land, they lost their house. No, you benefited from that for over 300 years, and in war, yes, you lost. End of question. End of story. Willard, I'm over break. I got to go. Okay. Stay with us on the Jack Gravely Show.
Stick around. The Jack Gravely Show will be right back on WLEE News Talk 990.
Hey, there's my son. You've been in your room all morning.
Hey, Dad.
Matt, what's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Oh, well, it's just sort of.
I have been playing my video games and electronic games for so many hours.
Uh-huh. Well, it sounds like it might be time for you to take a break, or...
Hello, Dad.
Susan?
I have been watching TV and text messaging all morning. Yay, electronics. Yay.
Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and take a little trip. Maybe see some trees, some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, you! Yeah, you, mister. I'm 18 years old, at the top of my game, and I got everything to look forward to. Over here, I got a question for you. Did you register with Selective Service yet? No? Give me a break. All those big plans you got, all those big dreams, forget about it. College, forget about it. If you need student loans, job training, forget about it. Government jobs, forget about it. If you're an 18-year-old guy and you're not registered, you can't even get your driver's license renewed in most states. And you can't become a citizen if you're an immigrant. So here's the deal. It's the law. If you're at a computer, it takes like a minute to get it done at sss.gov. No computer, no excuses. Go to the post office, fill out a Selective Service registration form, and drop it in the mail. Done. Bada bing. So save yourself the hassle you don't need and go chase those dreams and get on with your life. Now get out of here and don't forget about it. Register with Selective Service. That's sss.gov or go to your post office.
For live streaming audio of The Jack Gravely Show, log on to WLEE990.am.
Thank you very much for staying with me on The Jack Gravely Show, coming to you from beautiful downtown Richmond, Virginia. Let's go to Mohammed. Mohammed, are you there?
Good morning, Mr. Petersburg, Virginia.
Good morning, sir.
All right. I got my three little ragged reports to run down. I got to move them quick. Number one, Michelle Obama. The ruler of Arabia did right by not touching. Females must be segregated from the male. Females will stay clean that way. Number two, Suge Knight. He was the son of Death Row Records. Years ago, Snoop Dogg said he left Death Row Records because he felt like he was on death row. Now we know what he was talking about. Number 3, Jeff Fort from Chicago. Not one of y'all talking heads say anything good about Jeff Fort, but he helped Dr. King out in Chicago. He was a pallbearer. Jeff Fort was a pallbearer for Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was a pimp.
That was killed by the FBI in his bed.
Sir?
That was killed by the FBI in his bed.
Exactly. Jeff Fort was a pallbearer for him.
Now, let me say this.
Just because Jeff Fort got 2 life sentences in Florence, Colorado, y'all can still say something good about it.
Well, let me say, are those your 3 points?
Yes, sir.
May I speak?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, my brother, everybody didn't know who Jeff Fort was.
Well,
Fort, wait, let me finish. I listen to you. Everybody may not have known who he was. I knew who Jeff Fort was. I knew who Hampton was. I knew how he got killed. Everybody may not know. See, one of the things that we do sometime, and I may be guilty of this, is assuming that everybody knows everything that you know. You're one of the smartest men on planet Earth, Muhammad.
No.
So how can we know everything that you know? What you need to do is present information to us in a non-confrontational manner and tell us better. So, but Jeff Fort, good man. Okay, let's go to Suge Knight. All I got to say about Suge Knight, 3-time loser. 3-time loser. He gets convicted for this, even if it's reduced to manslaughter. He's gone. He's gone for life. Michelle Obama, we've been discussing that all week long, and I have a much better understanding about the culture, about the religion of Islam, and how women are treated there. And I accept that up to a point. But a lot of people in the society and the culture and where we live in America may not have known that, and may not have understood that, and took a jaundiced look at how she was treated there. But now I have a much better understanding of that situation. But hold on, let me finish. I'll let you come back. Now,
yes, sir.
But even with that being said, and you talk about keeping women pure and clean and away from the prying, vicious, salacious eyes of men. Women, I'm putting it in. I'm giving it to you. I'm putting it on you. Now, women in many of those Islamic societies are not treated equal as men. Just one little basic thing. Why come a woman can't drive?
A woman is not equal
or go to school to get a woman is not what? Wait. What did you say, Muhammad?
A woman is not equal to a man. That's where you made your first mistake.
Okay, so
a woman is like a child. He must be kept under control.
Muhammad.
Sir?
Are you saying that to provoke me and my listeners? Are you saying that because you believe it to be true?
Well, take a look at your...
No. I'm asking, are you saying that to provoke me and my listening audience here this morning? Or are you saying that because you actually believe that, Muhammad?
Take a look out your window. Walk through the shopping mall. A woman is a child. You can buy trinkets. They'll start giving it. And they'll faint. But men won't.
Well, I think you once told me that you were not married, right?
No, I ain't never been married.
You ain't never been. Okay, all right.
I had a sweetheart, though.
And what happened to her?
What happened to her?
I mean, you said you had. Had is past tense, so I'm assuming she's no longer with you.
Oh, no. But a woman is a child. She'll always be a child, and you must keep them segregated from men. And you know this, and I know it. No. Hey,
Muhammad.
Sir?
You're not going to put me on the same side of the street that you're on, brother. You may be on that side of the street, but I do not view the woman that I'm married to as being a child.
Look, I bet you when Obama went to Arabia, he didn't shake hands with the king of Arabia's wife or his daughter. The king of Arabia ain't going to tolerate that.
Did you? I mean, I don't know that. I mean, you know that for a fact? Okay. All right, Muhammad. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. All right, let's go to WC. WC, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Jack.
Yes.
Are you familiar with Boxdale Higgins?
No.
Okay, Boxdale Higgins is Bocky at Boxy Record Shop.
Yes.
Well, back in the day, what you were speaking of, open your own business.
Yes.
Well, that's what Bakke did. He
All
tried
right.
to open his own business selling records on First Street in the 400 block.
Okay.
Well, no dealership in the state of Virginia would sell him records. So he had to go to D.C. or New York to buy records to bring back to Richmond to be able to sell them.
And let's make it clear for our audience out there, Bakke's Record Shop is a black-owned record shop that's been on Broad Street in downtown Richmond for decades.
Yes.
And he had to go, no distributors would sell him records.
Not in the state of Virginia.
Come on, WC.
Oh. And let me tell you the big thing about it. The biggest white dealership here in Richmond went to the police department to complain about Bakke with the, microphone outside advertising his business. And Alvin Epps, I think you remember Alvin Epps. He was the first black uniform sergeant.
Oh, yes.
And he was also the first black magistrate. Well, at the time, he and I were partners. So they called us in, and police department, and told us to go up there and arrest Bakke for all that noise up there. And as we were driving up to Bakke's, we discussed we were not going to arrest Bakke because what they were trying to do is put Bakke out of business.
Right, exactly.
For this white dealership. So when we got there, we explained to Bakke what was going on. And F stayed with Bakke, and I walked down the street. At the time, I could tell you the distance, but right now I don't recall the distance now. But I would walk the distance, and as the mic was blasting, I would give the down sign with the thumb to tell Epps to tell him to turn it down.
Okay.
So when I walked to the location, approximate distance that the volume shouldn't be heard, when I finished pointing down, and he got the down, then I could walk back to him and say, Bakke, look at your volume number on your microphone. And as long as you keep it there, the police department can do nothing to you because you're not in violation. And so that is why Bakke stayed in business as a dealer, and he finally was able to buy records in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Unreal. Good story. Good history. Thank you, WC. Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Wally. Wally, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Good morning, Jack.
Good morning, Wally.
Yeah, the idea of reparations, I got a problem with people who want to receive wages for work they didn't do.
You obviously didn't hear my first take. No one would expect, including me, that you would walk around and give money to individuals. You give it to institutions and to colleges here in the United States. And I'll be honest with you, I have a real hard problem with anyone, especially a black person, that doesn't say that the free labor that our ancestors gave to this country, that there's not something owed to black people in America, whether they get it or not. You can't tell me, look at history, that you work in a country for over 300 years, free, and you're not owed something. Go on, Wally.
Well, Jack, why haven't that been brought to the forefront since now?
Where have you been, Wally? That was in the forefront in the 60s. It was in the forefront in the 70s.
What I'm saying, Jack, has it been a payoff? Has there been a payoff?
Oh, because America has fought for it and has fought for it. I think America would probably go to hell before they pay reparations.
That's my point, Jack.
Simply because...
No, I agree with you, Jack. Yeah. I believe that reparations are due. I mean, we gave the Japanese money when we put them in the internment camps. So I think reparations are due. I agree with you, Jack, on that. I don't disagree with you.
Okay.
As a black man. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
All right, man.
Okay.
All right, Wally, thanks a lot. Got to get out of here and go to break. So Larry, Michaels, and others, stay with us on the Jack Gravely Show. We'll be back.
Jack will be back after a few messages on WLEE News Talk 990.
We have told you about Faith Sharon Daycare Center in Ashland, a daycare center with program staff and a facility that provides your loved ones with the best of care in a social setting that is safe and well managed. The Faith Sharon Daycare Center at 325 South Hill Carter Parkway in Ashland is a daycare center that will provide the very best for your family member. You can call them at area code 804-337-6680 or 307-0707. Faith Sharon Daycare Center is a home away from home. Games, walks, exercises, breakfast, lunch, and just good, positive social environment with the peers or your family members is a large part of what makes Faith Sharon Daycare Center successful. Visit them or call them at 337-6680 or 307-0707. You know, sometimes looking your best will require a little help. That's when Johnson's Beauty Salon at 402 North 2nd Street comes in. Johnson's Beauty Salon, a licensed professional salon, can provide you with the shampoo, hair trims, coloring, weaves, relaxer, flat iron, and all the other hair needs you would want. The shop personnel are all professional and dedicated to providing you the best service in the city. Johnson's Beauty Salon, open from Tuesday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. The telephone number is area code 804-649-2572. They're open Saturdays from 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Walk-ins are always welcome. Appointments after 5 p.m. are required on weekdays. Call Johnson's Beauty Salon at 649-2572.
Hi, I'd like to apply for a student loan.
Wonderful. We just need to verify that you've registered with Selective Service.
But I haven't registered.
Oh.
Hi, I'd like to sign up for a job training program.
Fantastic! This program is great for learning the skills that help you get a good job. Let's just check to make sure you've registered with Selective Service.
Well, I haven't registered.
Oh.
Thank you for letting me interview for this government job. I'm really excited about working here.
Well, yes, but your records indicate that you're not registered with Selective Service. I'm sorry.
Young men who fail to register with Selective Service can find a lot of doors closed to them. The law requires that all men register with Selective Service within 30 days of their 18th birthday. If you don't, you lose your right to receive student loans and job training, and you're shut out of federal employment. Don't close the doors to your future. Register with Selective Service online at www.sss.gov or at your post office.
Over the past 50 years, SCORE mentors have helped more than 10 million small business owners succeed for free.
Starting a business can be incredibly confusing.
SCORE really helped me steer the course.
Whatever the business, there's a SCORE mentor that has the experience and know-how to help you reach your goals.
SCORE mentors are serious business experts.
Whether you're a startup or an existing business, SCORE can provide the perspective and advice that ensures success.
My SCORE mentor has been tremendously helpful in the marketing of my business.
SCORE is a nonprofit organization where we provide free business consulting services to people who want to start a business or already in business.
Are you starting or growing a business? Be one of the next 10 million small businesses helped for free by SCORE. Get your free business mentor at score.org.
Listen to Jack Gravely online. Just click the Listen Live link on WLEE990.am.
Thank you very much for staying with me on the Jack Gravely Show. Let's go out to Louisa and speak to Larry. Larry.
Yes, sir, Mr. Gravely. I wanted to point something out to you I found in a monthly publication I found interesting. There's a magazine out called Black Belt, and it deals with martial arts and defensive tactics and training. And in there, you have a gentleman who's a defensive tactics trainer, and he has a piece in there he calls every issue The Way of the Warrior. And he said that when he was training females, he had to look at things from their point of view and talk to them. And he said after the incident in Ferguson, Missouri, he said he realized that when he gets with young African-American men, and he has to treat them defensive tactics or tactics to survive. You know, it made him think, and when he was talking to them about it, they all brought up the fact that their parents gave them the talk about dealing with police, and he goes into that in the article, but he said it just made him think, since he has a biracial son, that, you know, when you talk about experiences street survival or tactics, he said, you really have to put yourself more or less in the shoes of the persons or the eyes of the beholder. So I thought you'd find that very interesting that even non-traditional magazines are recognizing the problems with survival on the streets and race. So I thought you'd find that interesting.
Thanks very much, Larry. I do. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate the call and the comment here on the Open Topics Friday. Oh, man, a lot of open topics, reparation, Martin Luther King, Islam, and women. And I want to address the issue. Had to go to break with Muhammad on the air. Sometime I think, Muhammad, you may very well trying to be progressive. I don't know. But I can tell you this, that I don't view women as children, as if men have to control their everything from getting up in the morning to going to bed at night. And Brother Muhammad, I really have problems if you believe that. If you believe that. And if you believe that, I have some problems with that. I have some serious problems with that. We will see and we discuss it. Maybe other individuals would do that. The other thing is this. I was reading an article. I don't have the article in front of me now, but I was reading an article by a Islamic scholar the other day. Teacher raised as Muslim in the Middle East, teaches at a university here in America somewhere, I remember reading. And he talks about the most disappointing thing is how different people interpret and misquote the Quran, and how some Muslims, will use it for their own purpose. I have to hearken back to the professor from VCU that was born and grew up in Lebanon, and he's a Muslim. And he stated then that he thought that individuals of the Muslim faith, some, had hijacked the religion, interpreted for their own will, interpreted for their own means. And he talked about the term jihad. And jihad is to be used sparingly. And it's just not a word that anytime you get angry with someone, you're going to announce a jihad against someone. He was talking about how the misuse of the term, the concept, and its history. I think there's a lot that we all need to know about Islam and that we don't know. And we need to know, starting right here today. Jack Gravely Show. So very interesting topics. Dr. Martin Luther King, we talked about the game. We talked about Keystone Pipeline. We talked about Suge Knight. In fact, there was a report on the news about Suge Knight. This is Open Topics Friday. These are the days that you can call in and talk about whatever you wish to talk about, and we'll take it from there. Let's go to Harold down in Chesterfield. Harold, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Mr. Gravely, this past Wednesday we touched on the irresponsible behavior of the young woman and the two football players, actually childish-like behavior. Reading this article quickly in front of me, about a young woman that grew up in Dowsville here in Hanover County, the daughter of a welder and an accounting clerk. She forged her document at age 13 so she could work at King's Dominion. Later, she paid her way through Virginia Commonwealth University while serving 12 hours a week with a rescue squad. So we have that kind of positive image of someone going to college to learn something. And then we have these other people. I think the judge should have told the young lady that was claiming she had been raped that bad things happen to irresponsible people. Case dismissed.
All right. Thanks a lot, Harold. Appreciate it. Let's go to Chris in Chesterfield. Chris, you're on the Jack Gravely Show.
Hey, Jack. How you doing?
Hey, Chris.
Hey, to your point, I am African-American, but I have worked at a computer company, an Iranian-owned computer company for about 5 years.
Okay.
And when I was coming up from like 19 to early 20, and the whole place was Persian and the whole bit. Now, this is Northern Virginia where, there obviously there's a lot of Persians there.
Right.
Anyway, the long story short, let me tell you the number one thing that I learned is that culture, and we're just talking about Iranians right now, not all Arabs. But one thing about this culture that they're just very good at, and that is this idea that you emote, you use emotion to get you what you want, but it's really not real. It's not personal. What I mean by that is, like, if I made a mistake, or if I didn't make a mistake, and someone came at me and said, you're stupid, why you do this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? Getting all upset. 3 hours later, hey, buddy, Let's go to lunch. What are you talking about? I'm not going to lunch with you after you talk. What are you talking about, buddy? That's over, buddy. What do you mean? Come on. The reason I bring that up to you, Jack, is because, like you just were pointing out, regardless of what you think right now, what your preconceived notions are about any culture, you've got to be a study of the culture, and we just haven't done it. We haven't done it. You got to learn about these people, good and bad. You got to learn how they roll. And we haven't made that much of an investment.
I couldn't agree with you more. There are 3 topics that I think that every kid in high school and middle school should be exposed to. I think they should be exposed to financial literacy. I think they need to be exposed to different religions around the world. And I think they need to be exposed to a character or personal responsibility class. I think those are 3 classes that every kid should take somewhere between junior high and high school, might take it twice. Thanks a lot, Chris. Good observation. Buddy. All right, let's go to Cleveland. Cleveland, you got about a minute, and I got to get out of here.
Okay, quickly. That scenario that young man just described, was the guy said that's over with. Well, I've seen that a lot in my culture when I came up in the black community. I also saw that in that movie when Joe Carter, when Robert Uraim flew on all about my man as a teacher, as a principal, and then after that he's let's go to dinner.
Okay.
Here's my point. When do I supposed to find time to figure out what the Arabs are doing?
What do you mean by that? When are you supposed to find time?
I hear you saying that I'm supposed to learn that culture.
No, I said in school. In school.
What school?
In high school. Or middle school. Or college.
I thought we were teaching reading, writing, arithmetic, and English.
And you need to know something about the world around you, too. You definitely do. Got to get out of here. Thanks a lot, Cleveland. News coming up 11 o'clock. Jack Gravely Show. Dr. Jeffries on the other side. Stay with us.
The Jack Gravely Show.
CEO Radio, I'm Ray Hoffman. When did Linda Lightman know that Linda's Stuff, the business she had built selling consignment women's fashion apparel on eBay, had really become something? It was about 3 or 4 years in, right about the time the business had gotten too big for her house. And she and her husband drove from Philadelphia to Boston to attend an eBay buyers and sellers conference.
We walk into this room, and it's an auditorium filled with hundreds of people. And they're like, oh, there's Linda. Get Linda. And I thought I was going to be like in a conference room talking to, 10 people. And people knew who I was. And they knew about our site.
It's the success of Linda's Stuff that inspired others to start their own eBay businesses.
I paved the way for all these businesses that now want to do what we do. Yeah, there's competition now, but I will stand by the fact that we do it better.
Well, for sure, no one does it bigger. Ray Hoffman for CBS Radio News.
America's service members and veterans are strong, forged out of bravery, sacrifice, and duty. They are diverse, unique, from all corners of the country, and, thanks to their common experience, a family for life. But whether they served in lands far away or communities close to home, some of these men and women may face difficult times or even crisis. But sometimes reaching out for help can be the most challenging and worthwhile mission of all for veterans, service members, Reserve, and National Guard. Thankfully, friends, family, and communities are standing by their service members and veterans now more than ever. We're all in this together. When you recognize something isn't right, make the call to the Veterans Crisis Line or Military Crisis Line. During times of crisis, reach out and call. Dial 1-800-273-8255 and press 1, or chat online at veteranscrisisline.net or text 838-255.
As you spend your Saturday on the things that matter to you, take us along for the ride. It's Lifestyle Talk Radio on News Talk 990 WLEE Richmond.
CBS News. I'm Steve Kathan. He dropped out in 2008. He lost the presidential battle in 2012. What about 2016 for Mitt Romney? Live to Washington and CBS's Barry Bagnano.
CBS News has learned Mitt Romney will not be making a third run for the presidency. Our Capitol Hill correspondent Nancy Cordes says in a conference call with supporters at this hour, Romney will say that it's best for another leader in the Republican Party to become the next nominee. He says he's convinced he could win, but he admits it would be a difficult test and a hard fight. He says it's unlikely he'll change his mind and that he's not going to organize an exploratory PAC committee and not going to hire a campaign staff. Once again, CBS News reports Mitt Romney will not make a third run for the presidency in 2016. Steve?
Well, he's been in trouble before, and now rap mogul Suge Knight is facing murder charges after a fatal hit and run in Los Angeles. CBS's Begad Shaban is covering.
Detectives say Knight and two men were involved in an altercation at a fast food restaurant, where Knight allegedly struck both men with his car, killing one and injuring the other. Knight, according to his lawyer, was trying to escape after being attacked when he accidentally backed into the two men.
Bail's been set for Knight at $2 million. Another recent brush with the law, but no charges for the man cleared in the Trayvon Martin shooting death in Florida. CBS's Peter King.
George Zimmerman was arrested January 9th for aggravated assault, but now the state's attorney says he won't prosecute because the alleged victim, Zimmerman's girlfriend, has recanted her story. Police had pulled her over for a traffic violation when she claimed that Zimmerman threw a wine bottle at her earlier.
A Virginia judge is hearing arguments today in a case that challenges the government's no-fly list. It was brought by a man who says he was mistakenly put on it. The government's tried for 4 years to have the case dismissed. The FBI announced yesterday the brother of the plaintiff is now on the list of most wanted terrorists. With close to 100 measles cases in 14 states, doctors are urging patients to make sure they're vaccinated. In Northridge, California, pediatrician Charles Goodman is asking parents who refuse to vaccinate their kids to stay out of his office.
All those other kids who could get measles, I need to protect them. And I can't do what's right for the 10 or 20 people and let the other over 2,000 go by the wayside.
No cases reported in New Mexico, but that state reports a jump in parents seeking vaccine exemptions. The government says economic growth slowed down over the last 3 months of last year. A 2.6% growth rate was well off 4.6% and 5% in the spring and summer. But CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says there were some positive notes in the report.
Consumer spending, which they call consumption, it grew at a better than expected 4.3% annualized rate. That's the biggest gain since the first quarter of 2006.
And the Labor Department says wages and benefits rose last year by the most since 2008. The Dow is down 94. This is CBS News.
This Valentine's Day, send your sweetheart the gift that shines above all others. Name a star after them. I'm Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $54 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, we will name a star after your sweetheart and send a beautiful gift package. The new star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Call the Star Registry, 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com for this year's hottest Valentine's Day gift.
The Grammy Awards, Sunday, February 8th on CBS. Live from LA, it's music's biggest night, featuring the world's most exciting artists performing the year's biggest hits in a way only the Grammys can deliver. Tune in and be blown away by Ariana Grande, Madonna, Ed Sheeran, and many, many more. And the 2015 Grammy nomination CD is in stores now with an unbelievable playlist of 21 songs. Don't miss the Grammys, Sunday, February 8th, 8 p.m., only CBS.
Here's a look at area headlines on WLEE News Talk 990. Richmond is in a resurgence. That was the message from Mayor Jones in a speech last night at Huguenot High School where he laid out plans for 2015. Jones says one priority is getting poor people out of public housing. He implored city council, school board members, and others to commit to a new era of cooperation. Marijuana possession won't be decriminalized anytime soon. A bill eliminating jail time for possession and making it punishable by a fine died yesterday in a state Senate committee. It was opposed by Virginia State Police, the Fraternal Order of Police, and the Virginia Association of Commonwealth's Attorneys. A former Virginia Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control official who was facing 10 years in prison for embezzlement is free on probation. Steve Hammond pleaded guilty to pocketing $250,000 that was supposed to go to programs to fight underage drinking. With your latest newscast, I'm Billy Flynn on WLEE News Talk 990.
Now, the weather forecast from News Talk 990.
Today, partly cloudy, high of 41. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 18. Tomorrow, clear skies, high of 42. Tomorrow night, clear skies, low of 26. Sunday, cloudy, a slight chance of rain, high of 47. Sunday night, cloudy, a slight chance of rain, low of 38. Monday, cloudy, rain likely, high of 42. Tuesday, clear skies, high of 38. That's your latest weather forecast from WLEE News Talk 990.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You are now entering the world of Jack Gravely, a talk show you can participate in, believe in, and a host you can disagree with. So sit back and listen to the edgy, entertaining, and educational Grand Central Station of talk radio in beautiful downtown Richmond, Virginia. The Jack Gravely Show begins right now.
So we got Doc Jeffries on already. Doc Jeffries is already out. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Jack Gravely Show coming to you from beautiful downtown Richmond, Virginia. We have Dr. Jeffries here on the show this morning. Dr. Jeffries, Happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you as well. It's been a while.
Hey, yes, it has. And let me tell you, they've been beating up on me. They have been beating up on me about you. We're very glad to have Dr. Jeffries back. He's coming to us from up at the Ohio State University and the Kirwan Institute. He is a PhD out of Duke. You know, his writings, a speaker, scholar, teacher, and he comes on here and help us walk through some of the stuff. Dr. Jeffries, one of the questions that several callers have asked is whether or not you had seen the movie Selma, and what was your take on the movie during that period since you have written about it, teach about it, and know about it. Well, have you seen the movie, Selma?
Yeah, I have. I had a chance to see it. In fact, I got a chance to see it down in Memphis with the good folk at the National Civil Rights Museum.
Wow.
They did a special screening of it, and so I went down there and said a few words, introductory remarks, and everything. You know, I had this relationship with the folk down there,
right?
And it was powerful. I can't think of a better place other than perhaps Selma itself than to see a film that's sort of centered around Dr. King. I tell you, Jack, I enjoyed the film. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't see some shortcomings and would have done things a little bit differently. But I think as a starting point, as a conversation piece, I think it is very powerful. You know, one of the things that has troubled me, and hopefully we'll have time to sort of, talk about some of the nuances of it.
Right.
One of the things that has been most interesting, though, Jack, is this criticism of LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, President Johnson.
Right.
Saying that, that he's poorly portrayed, he's negatively portrayed in the film Selma. And so I was curious to see how this will play out. And as I watched the film and came to the end of the film, Jack, I said, LBJ ain't got nothing to worry about. He'll survive. He'll be all right. All these LBJ apologists.
Okay.
It's really simple. What the creative license, and there was a measure of creative license that the directors and the scriptwriters used. The creative license that they used really was, and it was clear to me, is that they were trying to show the evolution of Lyndon Johnson over time.
Uh-huh.
Because 1964, he's fully on board with 63 to 64, he's fully on board with trying to get the 1964 Civil Rights Act passed. I mean, that's him. That's the politician, the statesman, Lyndon Johnson, twisting arms in the aftermath of Kennedy's death, getting that bill, public accommodations bill passed. But then after it's passed, Johnson he sees and recognizes and understands the need for a voting rights bill. So he's clear about that, and he instructs the Justice Department to draw up potential legislation. This is in 1964, early 1965. He says, draw up potential legislation, and when the time is right, now that's the critical phrase. When the time is right, I'll bring it to Congress. Well, Dr. King and so many others said the time is right now. So it was a question of timing. So LBJ was like, look, I can't bring it to Congress. I'm not going to bring it to Congress. I don't think I can get the votes. Let's just wait. Let's be patient. Dr. King and so many others were saying, we can no longer wait. Okay. The time is now. And that's where they really come to loggerheads. And the film does capture that. It captures LBJ saying, let's be patient, and King saying, no, we got to go forward. We got to go forward. We got to go right now. And then by the end of the film, LBJ is on board. After you have Bloody Sunday, after you have created a crisis of conscience in America, then LBJ comes forward and says, okay, let's bring this legislation forward. Now, some of that nuance is lost, but what you do see is this evolution of a president going from someone who felt that the timing wasn't right, let's wait, to people on the ground saying, no, there's a sense of urgency, the fierce urgency of now, as we've heard, as Dr. King said, and Barack Obama has quoted him as saying, the fierce urgency of now, let's go now. And then finally, LBJ coming on board, delivering that famous address to the joint session of Congress, and then eventually getting it through Congress and signed in August of 1965.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Jeffries is on the phone with us. I have one or two more questions to ask him. We're going to take a break, and I'm going to come back, and I promise you I will open the phones up for you to just ask Dr. Jeffries the questions. Dr. Jeffries, one of the other questions that came up specifically that they were asked for me to ask you to discuss with us, if you could. Dr. Jeffries, before black folk came to America in mass as slaves, and those who came as slaves, what was the religion, or what were black slaves that came from Africa? What did they practice? Were they Muslim? Were they Christian? What were they before they came to America?
The vast majority of Africans who are brought over here to the Americas are coming from West Africa and Central Africa, and the majority of them practice traditional West African religions, Yoruba and the like. And so they had all were deeply religious, but they had the traditional faiths, traditional practices. Following in a close second was Islam. And of course, in the area of modern day Ghana now, Ghana, Mali, Songhai. You had a center of Islamic tradition, Islamic stronghold that had sort of filtered down from Northern Africa. And so Muslims represent sort of probably the largest single religion that's brought over, just because you had so many people practicing it. But the majority of people practice traditional West African religions, which were very flexible in their doctrine and faith. And so when they're brought over to the Americas, they're able to use Christianity in ways that fit with their traditional African practices. And so when you see this gradual conversion over the centuries to Christianity, and in the United States, certainly by the early 1700s, mid-1700s, the vast majority of practicing religion are practicing Christianity, part by force, but also by faith, because they were able to incorporate the Christian ethos into their traditional West African beliefs. So for them, it wasn't so much, we got to now worship a white God and white Jesus, but understanding the core philosophy of Christianity melded quite well with the core philosophies of their own traditional West African beliefs.
Dr. Jeffrey, so would it be a fair statement for someone to say that black folk, for the most part, was introduced to in America?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so on the shores, they first really encounter it because Europeans never penetrate into the interior of Africa during the slave trade, right? So they make it to the coast, and that's where they establish the slave force, but then also their missionary stations. And when enslaved Africans are brought to the coast, they first encounter those who are practicing Christianity. Now, you don't have wholesale conversions. You have forced conversions, not conversions of true faith.
Right.
But then it's not until they get to the Americas and over the generations, once people are being born in the Americas, do we begin to see this wholesale conversion to Christianity. So, yeah, it's in the Americas as a result of slavery that the vast majority of Africans are introduced to Christianity.
Okay, I have Salim in Richmond. I have CC in Tidewater, Norfolk area. Dr. Jeffries is on the line. We're going to take a 4-minute break. We'll be right back, and I will open the phones up for your calls and questions. Stay with us on the Jack Gravely Show.
Jack's just getting warmed up. Come on back after the break on WLEE News Talk 990.
I'm in almost every school bus and classroom. I go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. You've seen me around the neighborhood, and you've told me I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm one out of every 4 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we could grow up and be whatever we want. I want to grow up and be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. There's enough food in this country to feed everyone. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think you would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. I paid more than the minimum each month, and soon enough, it was gone.
So you're just giving up?
Giving up on what?
The life of luxury. Egyptian cotton, caviar Thursdays, designer everything.
What are you talking about?
Our plan. What happened to winning the lottery and mastering the art of the perfect mimosa? Hosting galas, wearing enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacationing in the French Riviera, and then buying it.
I just thought maybe it was time to prepare for my future. You know, set some financial goals, make some smart investments, open a 401k.
Financial goals? Investments? A 401k? You are horrifying right now. Listen, if winning the lottery were easy, everyone would do it.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Now, back to the Jack Gravely Show on WLEE News Talk 990.
Thank you very much for staying with me on the Jack Gravely Show. Dr. Jeffries, I'm going to open the line up for calls. Every line is loaded. Halim, Richmond, Virginia, you have a question for Dr. Jeffries.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You know, the last time I had a chance to speak to you, we were speaking about I was speaking anyway about the greatness of Dr. King and Malcolm, the great Malcolm X. But I was looking for you to respond to their discipleship rather than them in the past. And what I'm getting at, Reverend Jackson is a disciple of Dr. King, and the Minister Farrakhan is a disciple of Malcolm and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So what I'm asking you, how do you see the work of these two great men, and how do you rate the power of what the minister and what?
Now, what two great men are you talking about?
Justice Jackson and Minister Farrakhan.
Okay.
Well, it's an interesting question because, and thank you, Brother Salim, because certainly the heirs of, or as you say, disciples, the heirs of both Malcolm and Martin aren't limited to just Jesse Jackson and Louis Farrakhan. On King's side, certainly he was surrounded by a coterie of lieutenants, Jesse Jackson being one of the younger ones. And after King dies, is assassinated in 1968, internally there is a bit of a struggle, not fierce, but as organizations tend to do after a central charismatic leader is no longer able to lead. There is a struggle for the direction of the organization, and it was Ralph Abernathy, an older, same age as King, 40 or so, and those who felt that he was the best person to sort of carry on the mantle of King's leadership, and younger folk who were drawn to the charismatic, then dashiki-wearing, afro-sporting Jesse Jackson, based in Chicago, really had a little bit more of a hands-on relationship with young people in urban America. And so both those two gentlemen carry on the work of Dr. King. Jesse Jackson, following for him with Operation Breadbasket, this heavy emphasis on economics. We often don't associate King with economics and boycotts, but that was a key strategy of SPLC. And he carries that forward and does that in a number of different ways over the decades. And of course, in the early 1980s, 84 and 88, makes this run for the presidency, again, connecting King's legacy back to sort of voting rights. So they both do some major work. Now, on the other side, it's interesting because the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, certainly, you have a power, dynamic power conflict within the Nation of Islam. When Malcolm is coming up, Louis Farrakhan is definitely a disciple, a student of Malcolm. But then when you have the split between Malcolm and Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan sides clearly and decisively with Elijah Muhammad. And so you have more of a split there. So I wouldn't necessarily see Farrakhan after 1965, certainly, or after 1963, as necessarily being a follower of Malcolm. But he does, over the years, come around to embrace the legacy of Malcolm, and by the late 1980s, early 1990s, has extended this relationship with Malcolm's widow, Betty Shabazz, and the family. But even without that personal, even with the personal conflict that existed and political conflict that existed within the nation between Malcolm and Louis Farrakhan, there certainly were similarities in their mission. Louis Farrakhan certainly embraced the core tenets of Malcolm's beliefs, and that was the empowerment of the African American community, centered around a belief in Elijah Muhammad and the religious teachings of the Nation of Islam. And so he carries that forward. So in both ways, although they move in different directions, I think those who were students of both Malcolm and Martin, those who worked most closely with them, did their best and did a good job in carrying on the struggle that they had both given their lives for in the 1950s.
All right, let's go to the next caller. CC in Tidewater. You on the Jack Gravely Show with Dr. Jeffries.
Hello, good morning, gentlemen. It's indeed a pleasure and an honor to speak to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. I have, I wanted to make an announcement. I had a couple comments and a question for Dr. Jeffries, if I may.
Yes, what are your questions?
Okay. Well, can I make the announcement first?
What's the announcement?
Down at Norfolk State today, the lawyer for Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown is going to be down there.
What time?
Yeah, that's at 6 o'clock at Doug Wilder Center.
Okay.
Norfolk State. Yeah. Muhammad, he has a lot of issues. I like Muhammad, but he has some troubles with some women, I think.
All right, get to your question for Dr. Jeffries. Time is passing.
Yes, Dr. Jeffries. Okay, I'm reading currently. I have read Booker T. Washington's book, Up from Slavery. I read a book on Harriet Tubman, and now I'm reading Thurgood Marshall, American Revolutionary. And the things that they had gone through the past, how can we use some of the things that they used in the past for the things that's going on presently?
Well, certainly those are three luminaries in African American history, and I think there are elements in all of their experiences that are still applicable today. I mean, certainly there in Virginia, when you speak about Booker T. Washington, some of us associate him with Tuskegee, but of course he has a deep roots in Hampton, Virginia, and education as his thrust. Now, certainly, moving into the 21st century, we will not be going back to sort of agrarian, industrial arts education. That time has passed. But even during Washington's heyday, 1900 to 1915, he was producing in Tuskegee more teachers than he was farmers, more business people than he was farmers. So the core educational thrust of Booker T. Washington, I think, is still applicable in that we need to enlighten the mind, even more so than the physical body, to be independent participants and actors in the current capitalist system in which we live today. And of course, Thurgood Marshall pioneers in so many ways. A student of Charles Hamilton Houston, the architect of the Brown versus Board of Education case. I think Marshall serves as a great example for all of us about what lawyers should be. You mentioned that the lawyer for Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown is going to be speaking at Norfolk, and those who have a chance to go hear him, I think that's important to do. Thurgood Marshall really took to heart the notion that lawyers ought to be, black lawyers in particular, but really all lawyers, ought to be what Charles Hamilton Houston called social engineers. In other words, lawyers who were willing to fight on the behalf of black folk and all people who were oppressed in the United States to use the Constitution to ensure their basic civil rights and human rights. Charles Hamilton Houston, his teacher, said you're either a social engineer or a parasite. We need more lawyers like that, more people who are willing to enter into the legal profession so that they can defend the rights of those who have been wrongly and falsely accused. But as we've been seeing play out over the last year, we need lawyers of conscience to be serving as prosecutors, to be serving on the other side. We can no longer rely or think that we're going to get justice if we're able just to sit on juries, because clearly some of these critical cases aren't even making it to juries in the first place. The prosecutor has more power in the criminal justice system than any other person, including judges. And so I think Charles Hamilton Houston and Thurgood Marshall really point us in a tactical direction that is worth following. That's not the only direction, but it's a critical direction, and we have to be prepared to fight on that battlefield as well.
All right, CC, thanks a lot for your question and comment. Got to go to break. Dr. Jeffries is with us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you want more of Jack, stick around. He'll be right back on WLEE News Talk 990.
Sergeant R.J. Anderson's dream was to take to the skies.
I've always wanted to be a soldier, but my ultimate goal was to be a pilot. I think I was meant to fly. I had just applied to be a part of the 160th SOAR Regiment, and I was going to airborne school that next Monday. So I decided to go on a motorcycle ride with my buddies. We were going through a turn, and that's all I remember. That's the day everything changed. I was told by the doctor that I would never walk again. Thanks to Paralyzed Veterans of America, competing in adaptive sports lit my fire again. They help you transition for the rest of your life to that individual that you want to be. Sports like hand cycling really pushes you to find who you are in that redefining moment after injury. With PVA Sports, I've found my freedom. Now when I think about my future, the possibilities are endless.
For more information, visit pva.org, a public service of Paralyzed Veterans of America.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I'm 19 years old, and this is how I live united. I've always been kind of a computer geek, and I found a way to use those skills to help the homeless in my community. For people facing hard times, computer skills and a basic resume are so important. It may seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference in people's lives. So with United Way, I created a program where I work with the homeless. Together, we go through their whole job history, write a resume, and then save it on their very own USB drive. We provide workbooks and training certificates. I even budgeted for cupcakes so we can celebrate as a class when one of our people gets a job. That's huge. When somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." That's what living united feels like to me. My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Now, back to the Jack Gravely Show on WLEE News Talk 990.
Thank you so very much for staying with me on the show. We have Dr. Jeffries with us today. The phone lines are loaded. Let's go to Louisa, Virginia, and speak to Larry. Larry, you have a question or comment for Dr. Jeffries?
Yes. Excuse me, gentlemen. I'm dealing with a little bit of a virus, but I have a comment for both of you, and especially Mr. Jeffries.
All questions for Dr. Jeffries.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Excuse me. Well, actually for you two, but mainly Dr. Jeffries, I have had a situation where I talk to a lot of people who live and breathe Fox News, and with the current situation, I guess in Ferguson in New York, I've had some of these people who watch Fox News religiously criticize some of the national leaders leading the way, and then I pointedly asked, so what you're telling me is you agree with the issue that they're bringing up, you just don't agree with the messenger. And they come out flat and say, you know, I agree with the message they're talking about, but I don't agree with the messenger. So I thought both of you would find it interesting that you even have some hard right conservative people who may not agree with the message, but they agree with the message. So I found that very interesting.
Yeah, if it certainly it is interesting, and it's
Thank
a
you,
good
Larry.
point. And if I could just say quickly,
right,
there was a difference though in the reaction of those on the right, conservatives and ultra conservatives, if you will, on the right to both Ferguson and to Eric Garner, because in Ferguson case, in the absence of video, what you found there, the response was very much if you tended to be a person who believed whatever the police said, that the police can do almost no wrong, then you sided fully with Officer Darren Wilson and with the terrible prosecution a case presented before the grand jury and the terrible presentation of evidence publicly done by the prosecutor, right? But in the case of Eric Garner in Staten Island, because of the presence of the video and because this whole thing was brought about because he was allegedly, he wasn't even selling them then, this idea of loose cigarettes, that a person could lose their life on video at the hands of the state, the physical presence of the state, the physical manifestation of the state, that was problematic. And so in that instance, you began to see those on the right saying, wait a minute, this has gotten a little bit out of control. This is problematic. The state is moving too much into the ordinary lives of everyday people. And so, in that instance, I would agree that there was a distinction between the message and the messenger, if you will. In other words, the message we can get behind, we have to be careful about the militarization of the police coming from conservatives. But in the absence of this visual evidence of somebody actually dying before them, they were falling back to their default stance of black people tend to be criminals and the police tend to be right. And so, I think there needs to still be more education. But you're right. At least in Staten Island, there was a point of commonality that I think all sides could rally around, and because they were able to visually see this injustice.
Okay, let's go to Nathan Richmond. Nathan, you have a question or comment for Dr. Jeffries?
Yes, sir. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Dr. Jeffries, I get the opinion that, our history is being really revisionized right in our midst here, especially with Dr. King. But when it comes to slavery, the term slavery has been so watered down that it's we know our slavery was chattel slavery, and I think that's something that we have to, as African Americans, hold on to and make it a part of when we talk about our situation, because it's being compared to slavery that was really servitude throughout the world because it was just a way of life. And ours is so much different, and I'm thinking generations down that it's going to be watered down and made to look like what's happened all over the world.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on with that. And I don't even think that we have to wait for generations down the road. I mean, we have it right now. And it's watered down to the sense in a way that it's just simply not taught or spoken about in any realistic way. I mean, that was part of the power of 12 Years a Slave. I mean, you saw or depicted in that film was the raw brutality, the inhumanity that was visited upon Africans, African Americans, people, human beings. And that was shocking to many people because that aspect, the raw inhumanity, the way that black folk, people of color, African descendant people were treated is simply not discussed or talked about in any real or critical way. And it hasn't been. We still are wrestling with hey, Jack, you heard Charles Barkley, got in trouble for this the other day.
Yeah.
He gets in trouble almost every time he opens his mouth. Wow. He's like, get over slavery. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I mean, that's the product of people not willing to discuss, to take seriously what the institution of slavery was, what it did. I mean, this was one of the great tragedies in human history. The Atlantic slave trade and slavery in America. And there is no overstating the brutality and horror that it was. And I think that it needs to be a part of discussions that we have as people of color with our children, but it needs to be a part of a discussion within the public square, so that no one forgets what it was, the horror of it, but then also that it was slavery that laid the foundation, the economic, political, as well as social foundation for all that is America today. There is no United States of America today, superpower of the world, without 250 years of slavery.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's go to let me see, that was Nathan. Let's go to line 2. Paul, Northside, you have a question or comment for Dr. Jeffries?
Good morning, gentlemen. Dr. Jeffries, my contention is, me and Jack had this debate a few weeks ago. My contention is one of the reasons Barack Obama is being criticized so much by certain elements of American society is because in the history of the United States, few black males had high power political office like governors and senators. So they are somewhat hesitant about giving President Obama his credit because it might set a template for down the road for other black politicians to use. Say, well, this is what Mr. Obama did, and this is what I will do, and that is why he gets so much criticism, as opposed possibly when a woman comes in there, because there have been many more female governors and senators before one became president. You got a take on that?
Yeah, I think the Republican Party is very interesting, or conservatives in general are very interesting in their criticism of Barack Obama. And I think race is critical to it. But I think it has more to do with his politics. And although his politics are far from being extreme left as they are painted and portrayed, they nonetheless go against the core tenets, core political philosophy of those on the right. And so I think that's their main problem. That's their main issue. But they're fully aware, and I'm talking about political decision makers. They're politically aware of the explosive potential of race in America and racism. And so they use both code language, subtle and more overt, to delegitimize, to criticize Barack Obama, right? So if you can personalize, and so I would say yes, you're right, but then it's also not just about race; it's also about politics and using race to delegitimize the person who you most closely associate with the political positions. And so, is this a strategy that has proven effective and could therefore be used down the road to attack other African American elected officials if they hold similar positions? Yes, I think the blueprint is clear. But at the same time, if you are an African American and you run wholly to the right and embrace their core philosophies and ideas, there is no person they would rather celebrate, because then they can hold you up. And we saw with in the last presidential election. We're seeing it now with Ben Carson. There's no better person to say the sort of racist things that white folk can't get away with saying in the public square, that if you get a black person to say it, it provides them cover. And some of the foolishness that Ben Carson has been spouting now, and the folk rallying around him, I think we're seeing that play out.
Thank you, Dr.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Let's go to Rodney. Rodney, you on with Dr. Jeffries. You have a question or comment?
I had a question for Dr. Jeffries. Always an honor, Dr. Jeffries. I'll get to it quick. We knew in the Bible that Moses was mistaken as the Egyptian. The Apostle Paul was mistaken as the Egyptian. My thing is, when Israel was scattered, and a lot of the people that look like the Egyptians, the Hebrews, went over into Africa, why isn't that never talked about, as far as some of the Africans that were brought back was actually of Hebrew descent?
I think a couple of things. One, this is it's a Christian problem and an Egyptian problem, and it has everything to do with race. When we think about the Egyptians in the minds of many, certainly in the 21st century, we think about Elizabeth Taylor, running around, prancing around, pretending to be Cleopatra. And we don't think about Egyptian history lasting almost 10,000 years, and the presence of the Greeks only coming in in the blink of an eye in the last 500 or so. That's when you begin to see the whitening up of Egypt, but that's the era that we tend to sort of focus on. And so, of course, I mean, the Hebrews, look, I don't know about you, but if myself and my descendants spend just 10 years in the deserts of Egypt, we're going to get darker, let alone generations. I mean, so these were African people coming up from the south, not European people coming down from the north. And so these are African-descended people. The Bible is about African-descended people, period, and point blank. So once you are unwilling to deal with that, then anything else that follows from that, that stems from that, then becomes problematic in a world that says white is right and people of color then fall by the wayside. So I think you got to start with Egypt and race and how that has played out, and everything else begins to fall into place when we begin to try to understand why this whitening up of the Bible has taken place.
All right, got to go to a break. Stay with us. Dr. Jeffrey's going to be with us when we come back. Stay with us.
Jack will be right back. Call into the show at 788-0990.
You know, sometimes looking your best will require a little help. That's when Johnson's Beauty Salon at 402 North 2nd Street comes in. Johnson's Beauty Salon, a licensed professional salon, can provide you with the shampoo, hair trims, coloring, weaves, relaxer, flat iron, and all the other hair needs you would want. The shop personnel are all professional and dedicated to providing you the best service in the city. Johnson's Beauty Salon, open from Tuesday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. The telephone number is area code 804-649-2572. They're open Saturdays from 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Walk-ins are always welcome. Appointments after 5 p.m. are required on weekdays. Call Johnson's Beauty Salon at 649-2572.
At ManorCare Richmond, about 89% of their patients are there for rehabilitative care after a recent hospital stay. Their highly skilled nurses and therapists have the expertise for personalized rehab programs. So between hospital and home, count on ManorCare Richmond. To learn more, call 266-9666. That's 266-9666. Or visit their website at manorcare.com/Richmond.
We have told you about Faith Sharon Daycare Center in Ashland, a daycare center with program staff and a facility that provides your loved ones with the best of care in a social setting that is safe and well managed. The Faith Sharon Daycare Center at 325 South Hill Carter Parkway in Ashland is a daycare center that will provide the very best for your family member. You can call them at area code 804-337-6680 or 307-0707. Faith Sharon Daycare Center is a home away from home. Games, walks, exercises, breakfast, lunch, and just good, positive social environment with the peers for your family members is a large part of what makes Faith Sharon Daycare Center successful. Visit them or call them at 337-6680 or 307-0707.
Welcome back to the Dog Show. Up next, we have Satchmo. Satchmo is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right, a group known especially for their couch-snuggling, ball-chasing, face-licking, tail-wagging, backyard-hanging, and, of course, companionship.
And what breed would you say Satchmo is?
I'd have to go with maybe a lavish terrier-hound chihuahua-looking kind of mix.
Tremendous dog.
I'd also like to point out Satchmo's coloring, a white, gray, brown, black brindle, simply marvelous.
You know, it's such a treat to watch a dog like this.
Now, let's see him in action.
Look how he makes eye contact with his person.
That's actually known as the treat stare.
How intuitive. And now he appears to be excitedly turning in circles.
Ah, the happy dance, so common with this group.
And finally, the loving face lick.
It's great how he just gets in there and, well, licks.
Fantastic. But really, the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Satchmo is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
This is NASCAR driver Kurt Busch. The fast lane isn't just for race car drivers anymore.
Now there's a faster VA claims filing process for veterans. When you file an electronic fully developed claim, or eClaim, for disability compensation on eBenefits, you can get a faster decision than the standard process. Why wait? Visit ebenefits.va.gov today.
eClaims, online VA claims made simple. A message from the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Now, more with Jack Gravely on WLEE News Talk 990.
Thank you very much for staying with us on the Jack Gravely Show. Dr. Jeffries is here. Let's go to Rodney in Richmond. Rodney, you're on the Jack Gravely Show. I'm going to... It's Earl? Okay. All right, let me put that back on hold and go... Earl, you're on the Jack Gravely Show with Dr. Jeffries.
Yes, how you doing?
Hello, Dr. Jeffries, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Earl, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
question or comment? Yes.
Question, Doctor, is about economic empowerment. Do you think that the slave codes and black codes are still affecting the state of Virginia with a 98% white utilization contracting firm and 2% minority participation firm? Do you think that the black codes and slave codes are still affecting us in reference to economic empowerment?
All right, thanks a lot, Earl. Appreciate it.
So the slave codes and black codes are really specific to particular moments in time, that being slavery before 1865 and the Reconstruction/post-Reconstruction era immediately after 1865. But that being said, I think what Virginia and so many other places are still dealing with is the legacy of Jim Crow, the legacy of segregation as it revolves around economics. You know, we started our conversation this afternoon, Jack, talking about the film Selma, and one of the things that is lost in the film Selma a little bit, and that's often not a part of the conversation when we talk about the past, is how critical economic discrimination was to the maintenance and the reason for segregation in the first place. And so it's not a surprise that just 50 years removed from the 1964 Civil Rights Act, that we would still find disproportionate discrimination in the public sector, but then also in the private sector as it relates to African Americans and economic opportunity, because we still haven't addressed that. So I don't think we have to go back 150 years to find a direct connection. Certainly that informed what was going on 100 years ago, but even more recently, in the last 50, we see the continuation and the extension of economic discrimination rooted firmly in race, even by well-meaning folk, because it's been structurally built into our system, our economic system today.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Rodney. Oh, who's on 6? Rodney won't hang up his phone. Okay, Rodney. Rodney, if you listen to the show, you need to hang your phone up. Rodney, you need to hang your phone up. Let's go to Wally on line 2. Wally, are you there?
Yes, I got one question, Jack, for the guest. You was talking about reparations. What did he think about reparations? And
you could ask Dr. Jeffries. He's on the line. Ask Dr. Jeffries.
Yeah, that's what I'm directing the question to, Jack.
Okay.
Dr. Jeff, what do you think about reparations? And my solution to reparations is maybe some tax rates. What do you think? All right, goodbye.
Well, I mean, reparations needs to happen in some form. It's certainly not going to occur in any significant way in terms of direct cash payments. That time has passed. But certainly reparations in a constructive way, either in the form of tax breaks, tax credits, or the like. But really what we're talking about is investment in community, investment in the African American community. Because for so long, there has been systematic disinvestment, not only the withholding of funds, but of actual efforts to undermine and destabilize. And so now is the time for this nation to make right what it did wrong for so long, and that is to say, beyond just affirmative action, which was designed, you can't even talk about that anymore, which was designed to help an individual, to make a proactive effort to support community and to support the black community so that new opportunities, equal opportunities can come about. So, I think we need to think creatively about what that looks like. But I'm fully on board and certainly believe that it needs to happen.
Okay, let's go to Kevin in Atlanta, Georgia. Kevin, you have a question or comment for Dr. Jeffries?
Yes, a question. Greetings, Dr. Jeffries.
Hey.
My question is,
I often hear criticisms of African Americans regarding issues affecting our life here in America. There's a reference to how we have to get back to certain things, or we have to get, as if there were some golden era for African Americans in this country. My question is, was there ever any such golden era in America that African Americans can get back to? And part two of the question is, what are 3 things that African Americans can do to improve our condition in America? Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Kevin.
That's a great question, and I'll be quick, Jack. You know, we do tend, and we do hear it in conversation, to romanticize often the past. I mean, even just looking at the civil rights movement, we say, you know, if we could only get back to the same level of unity that existed in the 1960s, we could move forward and do great things. Like, what unity was that, right? I mean, you never had more than 10% of the community really being mobilized. You have black folks as critical of Martin Luther King as they ever were. In Selma, and we're talking about the movie Selma, I mean, that wasn't tens of thousands of people, local people moving forward. I mean, that was a handful. If you had 100 people at a demonstration, you were doing something good. And throughout the course of African American history, or the course of Africans in America, we have been catching hell. I mean, so there is no golden era where things were so much better, one, or that we as a people were just striving and doing so many great things. That being said, there are elements that enabled us to survive the worst of the past that we ought never let go of. Our strong connections of family, whether they were because of blood ties or non-blood ties, real kin or fictive kin. I mean, those elements that enabled us to survive the horrors of slavery, the horrors of the Middle Passage, the horrors of Jim Crow and the era of lynching. It's not a golden era, but there are elements in community that we should never let go of, that we ought to look back and say, you know what? These are some of the things that we need to continue to do today. And if we do those things, then we have a fighting chance going forward.
And I got to let that be the last word, Dr. Jeffries. We got about 10 seconds. Thanks, Doc. Walk slow, drink plenty of water, gone.
Glad to wake up in the city that loves me. RVA.
The Jack Gravely Show. 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 Gravely Show.